With college entrance exams approaching, Tsinghua Beijing University of Science and Technology offered our entire class early admission. Just past the preliminary review and interview, the class beauty suggested we all get tattoos to celebrate. My do-gooder instincts kicked in, worried tattoos might jeopardize our admission. I stopped everyone from visiting her family's tattoo parlor. That's when she started hating me. She rallied the class to bully me relentlessly, ostracizing, insulting, beating me, calling me the black sheep. The daily mental and physical torture culminated when an anonymous punch to my temple killed me during one desperate fight back. Reborn, I vowed to rewrite that ending. No more mercy, you'll pay dearly. I'll watch every last ungrateful traitor reap what they've sown. I opened my eyes to blinding sunlight streaming through the classroom window, casting sharp angles across my desk. Miss Laura's familiar voice reached my ears. I've got amazing news. Tsinghua Beijing University of Science and Technology is offering our class direct admission. Everyone gets guaranteed enrollment after passing preliminary reviews and interviews. The classroom erupted instantly, textbooks flew through the air, desks rattled from enthusiastic pounding, a throbbing pulse hammered at my temples as the scene overlapped perfectly with my memories. I'd been reborn. Reborn on the day that changed everything. Quiet, quiet, Miss Laura clapped her hands. This is a rare opportunity, but everyone still needs to prepare seriously. 1. Her words were drowned out by the clamor of classmates. My gaze involuntarily drifted toward that dazzling figure at the center of the classroom, Chloe, the class belle, surrounded by several girls. She wore her signature sweet smile. Classmates, Chloe suddenly stood up and clapped her hands. For this memorable occasion, I have a proposal. The classroom fell silent instantly as all eyes turned to her. I remembered this moment vividly from my past life. She was about to, my family runs a tattoo parlor, right? To commemorate our class unity, I suggest we all get matching class symbols, just small ones, on our wrists or ankles. She batted her big eyes, her voice dripping with honeyed sweetness. Dad said he'd give us 20% off. That's awesome. Now that's what I call meaningful. Chloe, you're absolutely amazing. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the classroom. Digging my nails into my palms beneath the desk, the sharp pain confirmed this wasn't a dream. In my past life, I'd stood up at this moment to vehemently oppose them, earnestly warning how tattoos could jeopardize special admissions. But what good did that do? The backlash made Chloe resent me. She rallied the entire class to bully me relentlessly. Isolation, mockery, verbal abuse, even physical assaults. Branded as the black sheep sabotaging class unity. I endured daily psychological and physical torment until one fateful resistance, when someone's fist struck my temple, sending me collapsing to my death. Soren, cat got your tongue? Chloe's gaze suddenly sharpened with suspicion. Since when does our resident opinion leader stay quiet? All eyes turned to me. In my past life, I'd have stood up to voice objections at this moment, only to be mocked as prudish and jealous of Chloe's popularity. A slow smile curled my lips. I think it's great, quite meaningful. Chloe visibly faltered before beaming brighter. See, even Soren, our resident stick in the mud, agrees. Everyone come to my family shop after school. I'll have Dad design custom tattoos for you all. Cheers erupted again. I lowered my head to hide the ice in my gaze. This time, I wouldn't play the unwelcome voice of reason. This time, I'd watch them dig their own graves. As the school bell rang, students streamed out in small groups. Buzzing with excitement about their tattoo designs, I lingered behind packing my bag, eavesdropping on their plans. I'm getting mine on the collarbone, super sexy. I'm going big, a full shoulder piece. Chloe promised to use premium ink for us, pricey but totally fade-proof. Shouldering my backpack, I stepped out of the classroom. The setting sun stretched my shadow long across the ground. Just ahead, Chloe stood surrounded by admirers, her bell-like laughter tinkling through the air. Watching them, I felt the corners of my mouth lift involuntarily, my first genuine smile since being reborn. My dear classmates, how much longer will your laughter last? The next morning, an eerie excitement hung in the classroom air. Students clustered in small groups, proudly comparing their freshly inked tattoos from the day before. Check this out. Marcus, the class sports rep, yanked off his school jacket to reveal a wolf's head entwined with thorns tattooed on his right bicep, easily palm-sized. Cost me over $800, but totally worth it. Hand-poke needles, way better than those sticker-looking tattoos. A group of guys crowded around, letting out exaggerated gasps. I stayed seated, pretending to read while watching everything from the corner of my eye. In my past life, Marcus had been one of the main bullies who tormented me the worst. His tattoo was always bigger and flashier than anyone else's. Hey Soren, not gonna come take a look? Marcus suddenly called out, flexing his arms showily. Way more exciting than burying your nose in books all day, right? Closing my book, I flashed him a perfectly measured smile. Looks cool, suits you. Marcus clearly didn't expect that comeback. After a brief pause, he smugly turned to the others. See, Even the bookworm thinks it's cool. Chloe's desk was completely surrounded. She'd deliberately worn short sleeves today, revealing an intricate floral tattoo on her inner wrist adorned with our class number. My dad specially imported the ink. It won't fade or bleed, she cooed while tracing her tattoo with exaggerated sweetness. Though it costs triple the regular price, I convinced him to charge you guys just double. I nearly laughed aloud. My memories from the past life knew better. Her family's parlor used the cheapest domestic ink that had turned bluish and fade within 3 months, yet nobody questioned her now. Chloe, why does mine look kinda red and swollen? Class rep Olivia whispered nervously, fingers tracing the small butterfly tattoo on her nape. Chloe waved dismissively, totally normal for fresh ink. Wouldn't happen with my imported pigments though, but that'll cost you extra. I caught the flicker of hesitation in Olivia's eyes before it vanished beneath the chorus of admiring gasps around her. Whoa, Chloe, your tattoo is seriously intricate. The colors are so vibrant, totally different from ours. You get what you pay for. I should have splurged on imported pigments too. I discreetly studied Olivia's expression. In my past life, she was the only one who didn't join in bullying me. Though she never spoke up for me either, now she was biting her lower lip, her gaze darting between Chloe's tattoo and her own. Settle down, class. Homeroom teacher Ms. Laura entered the classroom and rapped the podium. Regarding Tsinghua University's special admissions, the school has sent more detailed requirements. The classroom fell silent instantly. My fingers absently tapped against the desk. First, preliminary evaluations will be conducted in 2 weeks, focusing on academic performance and Ms. Laura flipped through her documents. Personal grooming standards. My fingers froze mid-tap. Personal grooming. What's that supposed to mean? Marcus blurted out. Miss Laura adjusted her glasses. It means exactly what it says. Dress appropriately, keep your hair neat, and avoid overly flashy outfits. Her gaze swept across the classroom, lingering briefly on a few students with visible tattoos. She frowned slightly but ultimately sighed. Use your best judgment. Now, let's hand out last week's practice exams. During the break, I deliberately lingered at the back of the line, in the hallway. A group of students from modest backgrounds huddled together, whispering, over 800, that's almost my entire monthly allowance. When my mom asked where the money went, I couldn't even tell her the truth. Should have gone with a smaller tattoo. Their complaints died abruptly as they noticed my approach. I walked past them stone-faced, memorizing every face. In my past life, these very helpless people had been the ones laughing loudest while bullying me, back in the classroom. Chloe was surrounded by girls showing off photos on her phone. This is Mia's full back piece from yesterday, absolutely stunning. She swiped to the next photo, and check out Tyler's full back Qilin tattoo, cost over $3,000. I walked to my seat, casually pulled out a book and began flipping through the pages with deliberate focus. The last class of the afternoon was study hall. The classroom was eerily quiet, with only the sound of turning pages and occasional whispers. Scanning the room, I noticed at least 2/3 of my classmates conspicuously displaying fresh tattoos, on wrists, ankles, nape of necks, some even bearing entire forearms like Marcus. Chloe sat bathed in sunlight at the center of the classroom, the golden glow framing her like a halo. She kept brushing her hair aside while writing, making sure everyone noticed her exquisite tattoo. My eyes drifted to the stack of receipts peeking from her desk corner. Memories from my past life revealed her scheme, not only skimming commissions, but actively pressuring classmates into pricier placements and designs. That tiny floral tattoo on the inner wrist, she charged others $1,200, while paying mere $200 herself for the same piece. The dismissal bell rang as classmates packed their bags to leave. I deliberately took my time tidying my desk, waiting for most to clear out. Soren. A voice called from behind me. Turning around, I saw Olivia standing by my seat, nervously twisting the hem of her shirt. What's up? I asked. She hesitated. You're usually insightful. Do you think tattoos might affect our preliminary review? Feigning surprise, I said. Shouldn't be an issue. Chloe said it's fine. Would she steer us wrong? Olivia's expression shifted. Chloe, the words died on her lips. Slinging my backpack over my shoulder, I said. Don't overthink it. Chloe would never betray the group, right? With that, I patted her shoulder and left the classroom. I could feel Olivia's gaze lingering on my back until I turned the corner, kicking pebbles along the roadside on my way home. I felt lighter than ever. In my past life, I'd foolishly pleaded with them not to get tattoos, only to face exclusion and bullying. Now, all I had to do was give them a gentle nudge and watch them sink deeper into their self-made pit. My phone vibrated with a message from the class group chat. Chloe had posted a photo of new tattoo designs from her family's parlor, captioned, "Exclusive friendship tattoos for our class, DM me to book." Staring at my screen, I suddenly laughed. Friendship tattoos, how ironic. This time last life, the chat would have been flooded with messages mocking me, accusing me of jealousy, calling me a busybody, saying I deserved having no friends. Now I just stand by silently, watching them march toward the disaster of their own making. I turned off my phone and looked up at the sky. The setting sun dyed the clouds blood red. The real show is just beginning. The glow from the phone screen was blinding in the darkness. In the class group chat, Chloe just sent a new message. "Don't forget to bring cash tomorrow afternoon if you're coming to my family shop for touch-ups after school." Here's a series of responses. "Got it. I'll be there. Chloe's the best." My thumb hovered over the screen for a moment before silently taking a screenshot. In my past life, I'd be pleading earnestly in the group chat right now, only to be met with waves of mockery and insults. This time, I won't waste a single word. Switching off my phone, I lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, lost in thought. The next morning, the classroom reeked of pungent ointment. Many classmates' fresh tattoos were still healing red and swollen, like strange insects crawling across their skin. "Check out my scab." Marcus proudly flexed his wolf head tattoo on his bicep. "The artist says this means it's healing perfectly." I quietly took my seat and pulled out my textbooks as usual. Right now, I might as well be invisible. No one notices a good student who neither gets tattoos nor rebels against them. "Class." Chloe clapped her hands as she walked to the front podium, her short-sleeved uniform revealing the delicate floral tattoo on her wrist. "For Tsinghua Beijing Tech Special Admissions, we need to prepare a performance showcasing our class unity." As she handed out the schedules, her overpowering perfume mixed with the stench of tattoo ointment turned my stomach. I took the sheet, which meticulously outlined where and at what angle each person should display their ink. "Soren." Chloe suddenly stopped at my desk, her smile saccharine sweet. "Where's your tattoo? Didn't see you at my family shop yesterday." The classroom fell silent as all eyes turned toward me. "I don't have any," I murmured, unconsciously rubbing the inside of my wrist, allergic to tattoo ink. Chloe's perfectly shaped eyebrows knitted slightly in surprise. "Seriously, not even tiny ones?" "The doctor called it systemic anaphylaxis," I said softly, just loud enough for the class to hear. "Could go into shock." A wave of disappointed boos rippled through the classroom. Chloe's smile vanished as her lip twitched. "Fine, you can just hold the class banner during the show. No need to show your tattoo." I nodded and buried myself back in the book, feigning complete disinterest. Chloe lingered for a moment before stomping off in frustration when I gave no further response. Rehearsals began with Chloe orchestrating formations to showcase everyone's tattoos prominently. Marcus even stripped down to his tank top to make his wolf head tattoo more conspicuous. Holding the utterly forgettable class banner at the back, I watched the farce unfold with detached amusement. Chloe conducted like a maestro, barking orders. "Higher with those arms, Marcus." "Mia, tie your hair up, show those wrist tattoos." During rehearsal break, Olivia quietly slipped beside me. The tiny butterfly tattoo on her nape had faded slightly, its edges tinged red. "Soren," she whispered almost inaudibly, "is your allergy really that bad?" I pretended not to catch her implication. "Yeah, had a reaction as a kid, almost landed in the ER." Olivia nervously fingered her tattoo. "Mine's been itchy and peeling." "Didn't Chloe say this was completely normal?" I said gently. "As long as everyone's happy." The words landed like a pebble tossed into a lake, sending ripples through Olivia's eyes. She hesitated, then walked away with nothing but a sigh. In the following days, the class buzzed with frenzied energy. Chloe kept emphasizing the importance of the performance, insisting everyone display their tattoos as symbols of class unity. As the only ink-free student, I found myself conveniently sidelined, exactly how I preferred it. The night before auditions, I stood before my closet meticulously selecting tomorrow's outfit: a crisply ironed white shirt, wrinkle-free dark trousers, and polished dress shoes. The mirror reflected someone impeccably groomed, every inch the model student. The class group chat was buzzing with excitement in stark contrast. Everyone kept posting tattoo photos and discussing how to show them off tomorrow. Chloe even shared a tattoo placement map detailing exactly where each person should display theirs. I watched silently, no likes, no comments, just screenshotting everything. On audition day, the sunlight was blinding. Our classmates clustered at the school gate, their multicolored tattoos glaring under the sun. Chloe wore a shortened uniform skirt with glitter-coated tattoos on her wrists and ankles, like a walking art installation. "Soren," she shrieked the moment she saw me. "Why are you dressed like that?" I glanced down at my white shirt. "Just following dress code. We're performing today." "Where's the short-sleeved uniform we agreed on?" Her voice drew everyone's attention. "I'm carrying the class banner. No need to show tattoos," I replied calmly. Besides, my short-sleeved uniform's still drying. Chloe's face darkened, but there was no time to argue. The admissions officers had arrived. Our class was scheduled first for preliminary reviews. Entering the meeting room, I could feel the tension in the air. 3 admissions officers sat behind a long table, with a silver-haired woman in her 50s, her hair impeccably pinned up, serving as the lead interviewer. Class 4, senior year at Tsinghua Peking High School, 45 students present out of 45 enrolled, Chloe announced sweetly. We've prepared a little performance. The show began, amidst off-key choral singing. Students displayed their tattoos as rehearsed. Marcus even twirled to showcase the ink on his back like a circus performer. Standing at the rear in neat attire, I stuck out like a sore thumb. The head examiner's gaze kept darting between me and those garish tattoos, her frown deepening. After the performance, the examiner cleared her throat. Thank you for this display. She measured her words carefully. These tattoos are... It's our class unity symbol, Chloe blurted out eagerly. Everyone got it voluntarily means we'll always stand as one. The head examiner exchanged knowing glances with the 2 teachers beside her. The preliminary review lasted all morning. Before dismissing, the chief examiner announced results would be posted in 3 days. Streaming out of the meeting room, students buzzed excitedly about their flawless performance, oblivious to the admissions panel's bewildered expressions. Chloe stood radiant at the center of their adulation. Wearing a triumphant smile, I walked quietly at the back, a faint smile playing on my lips. Their expressions would be priceless when the preliminary results came out in 3 days. The 3 days flew by. Students arrived early and clustered in small groups, buzzing about the possible outcomes. Sitting in my corner, I methodically arranged my desk while observing everything from the corner of my eye. No doubt about it. Did you see the admissions committee's faces during our performance? Chloe said the standards are different for special talents like us. My parents have even booked the victory banquet. Chloe stood encircled in the classroom center, her meticulously done makeup accentuated by glitter-dusted tattoos shimmering on her wrists. She basked in the crowd's flattery like a queen, tossing out confident smiles between compliments. Don't worry, everyone. Her voice rang clear as wind chimes. My father knows Tsinghua Beijing Tech's admissions director. Everything's been taken care of. I lowered my head to hide my smirk. My past life memories knew the truth. Her father just ran some tattoo parlor, hardly connected to any university officials, yet now, nobody would dare question her. The classroom doors swung open as Ms. Laura entered carrying a stack of documents. The room fell silent instantly. Every eye fixed on those papers. The preliminary results from Tsinghua Beijing Tech are in. Ms. Laura announced with unusual gravity. I'll read them now. I shifted in my seat, fingers curling slightly beneath the desk. The moment had finally arrived. From Class 4 senior year, the only student who passed the preliminary screening is Ms. Laura adjusted her glasses, scanning the room before concluding. Soren. The classroom fell dead silent. 44 faces swiveled toward me simultaneously, expressions morphing from shock to confusion to rage like frames from a slow-motion explosion. What? Chloe shattered the silence first, her voice shrill enough to pierce eardrums. Just Soren, Ms. Laura sighed. The other students didn't pass preliminary screening due to dress code violations. That's bullshit. Marcus shot up from his seat, his chair screeching across the floor. There's gotta be some mistake. Yeah, we totally nailed that performance. Didn't Chloe say everything was fine? How could this happen? The classroom instantly filled with. Chloe's face turned deathly pale, her manicured nails digging deep into her palms. Ms. Laura, there must be some misunderstanding. Our class, there's no misunderstanding. Ms. Laura cut her off, her voice uncharacteristically stern. The admissions office specifically mentioned your class's severe tattoo issue. Soren is the only one who meets the requirements. The words landed like a slap across the entire class. I could feel dozens of eyes boring into me, some jealous, some resentful, but mostly disbelieving. Soren, Olivia's trembling voice came from behind me. You knew about this all along, didn't you? I turned my head with faint innocence. Know what? Tattoos affect preliminary screening, she nearly shouted, her fading butterfly tattoo quivering with each agitated breath. Why didn't you tell us? The classroom fell silent instantly, all eyes locked on me. Every past life memory, the isolation, mockery, bullying, flashed through my mind like a zoetrope. Now it was my turn to steer the situation. I lowered my head, deliberately softening my voice. I'd have gotten one too if not for allergies. And this morning I noticed something in the admissions guidelines. What rule? Marcus snapped. I hesitated, then pulled out the crumpled admissions brochure from my backpack and slid it to the center of the table. Several classmates immediately lunged forward, scrambling to see. Here, a girl pointed at the paragraph highlighted in yellow, her voice trembling. Candidates must maintain a modest and neat appearance, with no extreme hairstyles, heavy makeup, or visible tattoos. This can't be. Chloe grabbed the document, her eyes rapidly scanning the text. This is just procedural. Chloe. Olivia's voice turned eerily calm. You said your dad knew the admissions dean. You promised those tattoos wouldn't affect preliminary reviews. Chloe's lips trembled, her meticulous makeup failing to hide her sudden pallor. I just heard it somewhere. Heard? Marcus's voice spiked sharply. You made us each drop hundreds at your parlor based on some fucking rumor. The classroom tension turned lethal. Students' expressions morphed from shock to rage, like wolves discovering betrayal, closing in on their former alpha. Wait, Chloe stumbled backward until her back hit the blackboard. I'm a victim too. How was I supposed to know admissions would be this strict? Bullshit, a girl shrieked. You swore this was a guaranteed spot. 3, damn right, and you took all our money. My parents are counting on me getting into a top-tier university. This is all your fault. Accusations flooded toward Chloe like tidal waves. Sitting quietly at my desk, I watched this ugly infighting unfold with indescribable satisfaction. Quiet, Ms. Laura slammed the podium hard. Arguing now is pointless. Those who didn't pass still have the regular college entrance exams. Focus your energy on regular exams. Marcus's voice cracked with emotion. I've been goddamn focused on special admissions this whole time. What hope do I have with regular exams now? Those words acted like floodgates opening. The classroom instantly erupted with furious complaints and despairing sobs. Some began clawing at their arm tattoos until blood seeped through. Others slumped over desks trembling silently. Most glared at Chloe with venomous stares, as if their eyes could tear her apart. Chloe stood isolated before the blackboard, her smeared makeup streaking from tears. I lowered my head to hide the smirk curling my lips. Let them wallow in regret. This powerless remorse paled in comparison to the bullying they'd inflicted on me in our past lives. The dismissal bell rang, yet no one left. Ms. Laura's attempts to restore order fell on deaf ears. Students clustered in small groups, exchanging hostile glances. Hunched in a corner, Chloe resembled a plucked peacock, all former arrogance gone. I packed my bag quietly and slipped out of the classroom. Behind me, Marcus roared in fury, "Chloe, this isn't over." Sunlight flooded the hallway, a stark contrast to the classroom's oppressive gloom. I walked slowly to the restroom, checked the last stall was empty, locked the door, and finally let myself smile. Then came the soundless laughter. My body shook with it. Tears streamed down, until I crouched hugging my knees. All that pent-up restraint finally erupted. They're finished, completely finished, and they brought this upon themselves, wiping my tears. I composed myself and stepped out, at the sink. The mirror showed calm features, only slightly reddened eyes betrayed anything amiss. No one would connect this quiet honor student with the silently laughing girl in the stall. Back at the classroom door, the argument inside had escalated. I stood outside, listening to the situation spiraling out of control. You knew damn well tattoos would affect college admissions. I didn't. I got scammed too. Bullshit. Your family's tattoo parlor must be raking it in. Give us our money back. We want a full refund for these tattoos. Then came the thud of something heavy hitting the floor and Ms. Laura's futile attempts to intervene. I counted to 10 before pushing the door open. The sight that greeted me was Marcus gripping Chloe by the collar, her expensive blouse twisted out of shape, her makeup completely smeared. Stop this, Ms. Laura desperately pulled at Marcus. Violence won't solve anything. I stood in the doorway as every eye in the room snapped toward me. An eerie silence hung in the air, like I'd just walked into a crime scene. Soren, Olivia's voice pierced the silence. Did the admissions office mention any chance of reconsideration? The question reignited a flicker of hope in everyone. 44 pairs of eyes locked onto me, including Chloe's swollen, tear-streaked ones. I feigned hesitation before murmuring, I heard, if the tattoos could be removed before reconsideration. The words detonated like a bomb in the classroom. That fragile spark of hope was instantly smothered by harsh reality. How could those tattoos, especially professional-grade ones like Marcus's extensive ink, possibly disappear overnight? Chloe suddenly wrenched her hand from Marcus' grip and shrieked, "You're all blaming me. Who is the greedy one chasing benefits? Who begged me for discounts? Now that things went south, it's all my fault." Her counterattack plunged the classroom into chaos again. Classmates began pointing fingers at each other, their former friendships crumbling instantly. I quietly walked to my seat, packed my bag, and slipped away unnoticed amid the turmoil. As I stepped out of the school gates, the setting sun stretched my shadow long behind me. The building that had caused me so much pain now brewed an even greater storm within its walls, and I'd already sown every seed that needed sowing. The morning sunlight streamed through the classroom windows, illuminating the empty lectern. I arrived half an hour earlier than usual to find the room deserted. Approaching my seat, I discovered the word traitor scrawled across the desk in red marker, accompanied by several smudged shoe prints. I chuckled softly, pulling wet wipes from my bag to methodically clean the surface. The me from my past life would have been furious or heartbroken, but now it just seemed laughable. They needed a punching bag for their frustrations. And quiet Soren made an easier target than class beauty Chloe. The classroom door burst open as Marcus entered with his usual entourage. Spotting me, they froze momentarily before huddling together in whispered conversation, shooting occasional venomous glances my way. I kept my eyes fixed on the book, feigning ignorance of their presence. In my previous life, Marcus had been my chief tormentor, his fists and sneers sending me trembling beneath blankets countless nights. Now, just a pathetic puppet dancing on strings. Soren, Marcus suddenly loomed over me, his gaze drilling down. You knew tattoos would affect admissions, didn't you? I looked up with perfectly feigned confusion. What? Cut the act. His fist slammed my desk, sending my pencil case jumping. You're the only one who passed preliminary screening. Don't pretend you don't know why. Slowly closing my book, I replied calmly, of course not. Just got lucky with a tattoo allergy. Marcus's expression froze. He probably expected me to panic or lash out angrily, not this calm response. He began to snap when the classroom doors swung open again, revealing Chloe entering with her dwindling squad in tow. Outwardly, Chloe had regained her usual polished makeup, but the confidence in her eyes was gone, replaced by a wary sharpness. Spotting Marcus by my desk, she visibly relaxed. Marcus, she cooed sweetly, as if last week's argument had never happened. Could you help me carry these materials? Like hell, I'll help you move. Marcus glanced between me and Chloe before scoffing and walking away. I noticed his gaze lingering on Chloe for several seconds, brimming with suspicion and anger. Chloe approached my desk, leaning down with feigned concern. Soren, are you okay? Marcus and the others have been on edge lately. Can't blame them when you're the only one who passed the preliminary review. Her overpowering perfume gave me a headache. That saccharine smile reminded me how she'd used the same expression in our past life to turn the entire class against me. I'm fine, I murmured in response. How about you? Last week, Chloe's expression froze momentarily before she forced a smile. Just a misunderstanding. It's all settled now. She lowered her voice. You've disrupted class unity. You should withdraw from this special recruitment, or Marcus and his crew won't let you off easy. I feigned hesitation, saying I'd think about it. She patted my shoulder like a queen bestowing charity, then turned toward her seat. As classmates trickled in, the classroom buzzed with eerie tension. Clear factions had formed. Chloe's inner circle still orbited her, though its numbers had halved. Marcus held court with his crew in the back rows, punctuating the air with derisive snickers. The remaining students clustered in twos and threes, their guarded eyes darting warily. Ms. Laura immediately sensed the tense atmosphere upon entering the classroom. Clearing her throat, she said, Class, regarding Tsinghua Beijing Tech special admissions, the school did everything possible, but the decision stands. Let's focus our energy on Ms. Laura. Chloe abruptly raised her hand. This isn't fair. Why was Soren the only one accepted? Are there undisclosed factors at play? Every head swiveled toward me. My pencil hesitated mid-stroke, predictably. Chloe had pulled this classic move, deflecting blame to make me the scapegoat. Ms. Laura frowned. Chloe, preliminary reviews follow admission guidelines. Soren met every criterion, whereas others, her gaze swept across visible tattoos in the classroom, failed the grooming standards. But Chloe started to protest when Marcus abruptly cut her off. Oh, come on, Chloe, he sneered. You're the one who talked us all into getting tattoos. And now you're trying to pin this on Soren. Chloe's face went deathly pale. The classroom tension became palpable as students exchanged knowing glances within their cliques. I just made a suggestion, Chloe said tremulously. You're the ones who ultimately decided to get inked. Advice, a girl shrieked. How much did you rip us off? That tiny tattoo cost me $1,200. Other shops charge $300 max for the same thing. The classroom erupted instantly. Students began comparing tattoo prices angrily, their voices rising with each outrageous markup. Chloe stood at the epicenter, her face flushing crimson, manicured nails digging into her palms. Quiet, Ms. Laura slammed her podium. Sort this out after class. Lesson starts now. An eerie calm settled over the lesson. I could feel dozens of eyes burning into my back, resentful, jealous, bewildered, but I just kept taking notes, detached as if none of this concerned me. The moment Ms. Laura stepped out of the classroom after the bell, the argument erupted again. Chloe, you owe us an explanation. Marcus blocked her desk. Either refund us double or get us into Tsinghua Beijing Tech. Why should I take responsibility? Chloe tilted her chin up, eyes glinting dangerously. You're the ones who got greedy looking for shortcuts. Now you blame me when it backfired. Greedy, Marcus sneered, who kept bragging about her dad knowing the admissions director, who swore tattoos wouldn't affect enrollment. Chloe's lips trembled as she whispered, I'm a victim too, liar, a girl shrieked, slamming her textbook onto the floor. My parents nearly killed me. Do you have any idea how much this opportunity meant to me? Watching this farce unfold, I felt nothing, not even a ripple of emotion. If anything, I wanted to laugh. Memories from my past life flashed before me like a zoetrope, them encircling me, mocking me, stuffing trash into my backpack, tossing dead rats, hiding pet snakes. Now the tables had turned, and I got to sit in the audience. Classmates, Chloe suddenly raised her voice. We've been played, can't you see? It's too convenient that Soren's the only one who passed the preliminary screening. The classroom fell silent for a moment, all eyes turning to me again. I looked up with perfectly feigned surprise. What do you mean? You knew tattoos would affect admissions all along. Chloe pointed at me sharply. You kept quiet just to hog the spot. The absurd accusation actually made some classmates look thoughtful. I nearly laughed aloud. These ungrateful wretches would rather believe in convoluted conspiracy theories than admit their own stupid mistake. Chloe, I said softly, the admissions brochure is public information, available to everyone, and, I deliberately paused, you were the one who organized the tattoo outing, remember? The words struck Chloe like a dagger to her weakest spot. Her face contorted briefly before morphing into a victimized expression. Don't let him fool you all. Soren's always been jealous of our class unity, now he's getting his way. But this time, her theatrics fell flat. Students exchanged uneasy glances, with none rallying to her cause, not even her dwindling squad of loyalists. Enough, Chloe, Marcus waved impatiently. Stop treating us like fools, pay up already. In the following days, the class completely fractured. Chloe's clique dwindled to just 2 die-hard followers, while everyone else gave her the cold shoulder. Marcus emerged as the new ringleader, rallying a group of furious classmates demanding Chloe refund double the tattoo fees. As for me, I found myself ostracized by both sides. Being the only one who passed the screening, I could practically feel the flames of envy in everyone's stares. This isolation suited me just fine. All I needed now was to wait quietly. On Thursday afternoon, I happened to walk past the teacher's office and overheard a heated argument inside. Miss Laura, you must intervene, came Chloe's father's voice. My daughter's being bullied by the entire class, all because she kindly organized a group activity. Mr. Derek, it's not that simple, Miss Laura said wearily. Chloe nearly ruined an entire class's future, charging exorbitant fees and making false promises. That's just business. Clear pricing, willing buyers. Chloe's father roared. Those parents just want to extort money. I slipped away quietly, a faint smirk playing on my lips. Seems Chloe's businessman father shares her complete lack of remorse. Back home, I received a text from an unknown number. Soren, it's Olivia, can we talk? I stared at the message for a few seconds before deleting it. Dark clouds gathered outside, with distant rumbles of thunder signaling an approaching storm. On Monday morning, the school gate was packed with vehicles. From afar, I saw a group of angry parents arguing with security guards. As I got closer, fragments of their conversation reached me. We demand an explanation. My daughter's future is ruined. That shady shop run by Chloe's family. I hurried through the crowd with my head down, unable to suppress a smirk. The parents had finally taken action. And the fire was burning just as fiercely as I'd anticipated, for the classroom was eerily empty, with only a few students fidgeting nervously at their desks. Olivia hesitated when she saw me enter, then approached and whispered, Soren, all the parents are here demanding answers from the principal. I feigned surprise. Why? Because, she bit her lip, fingers unconsciously tracing the faded yet still visible butterfly tattoo on the back of her neck. It's about the tattoo. And Chloe's family overcharging. Just then, the classroom door burst open as Marcus strode in with vindictive satisfaction written all over his face. The school's going to set things right, he announced to the class. The principal agreed to meet all parents at 10 in the conference room. The classroom buzzed with restless energy. Some students were excited, others visibly nervous. Chloe's seat remained empty. Her 2 closest friends huddled together with pale faces, too scared to show up. Marcus sneered at the girls. Tell Chloe she can't run forever. The class bell rang, but no teacher arrived. The entire morning unfolded in eerie suspension, faculty summoned to emergency meetings, classrooms left unsupervised as student whispers swelled to murmurs. Around 10:30, the PA system crackled to life. All senior class 4 students report to conference room 1 immediately. Repeat. Senior class 4 to conference room 1. The students exchanged glances before silently rising to their feet. Outside in the hallway, curious peers from other classes peeked through door cracks, whispering among themselves. I could feel my heartbeat quicken. The moment of truth had arrived. The entrance to conference room 1 was packed. Parents, school administrators, grade-level coordinators, and several official-looking individuals crowded the space. I quietly slipped to the back of the crowd, Positioning myself in an inconspicuous corner, at the center of the room stood Chloe and her father. Isolated like defendants in a courtroom, her father wore a tailored suit, his slicked-back hair immaculately groomed, sporting the practiced smile of a businessman. Chloe stood pale-faced, her carefully applied makeup failing to conceal the terror in her eyes. "Parents, please settle down." The principal rapped his gavel. "We understand everyone's concerns, but this must proceed orderly." Orderly, a burly father, Marcus's dad, slammed the table and roared. "That little brat talked my son into getting a goddamn sleeve tattoo that won't even come off. His future's ruined. How's that for an orderly solution?" Other parents immediately joined in, turning the meeting room into a full-blown witch hunt. Chloe's father tried to speak, but his voice was drowned out by the angry mob. "Refund, compensate us. This scam should be reported to the police." The principal tried futilely to restore order. I noticed Ms. Laura standing in the corner with a strange look of relief on her face, as if she'd foreseen this day coming. Then again, those ungrateful brats had never respected her in the first place. Everyone. Chloe's father finally seized the chance to raise his voice. "There's been a misunderstanding. My daughter was just kindly organizing a class activity. The tattoos were completely voluntary, and the prices were clearly marked." "Bullshit," a mother shrieked, cutting him off. "My daughter told me Chloe explicitly promised those tattoos wouldn't affect college admissions. She also said you know the admissions dean." Another parent chimed in. Chloe shrank under everyone's gaze, wishing she could disappear. Chloe's father turned pale as he faced his daughter. "Chloe, did you say these things?" Chloe's lips trembled. "I just heard, I thought." "Hear that?" She admitted it herself. Marcus's father bellowed. "This is fraud." The meeting room descended into chaos once again. School administrators whispered among themselves with grave expressions when an official representative stood up. Regarding Tsinghua Beijing Tech special admissions, he adjusted his glasses. "The prospectus clearly outlines grooming standards. Why does only one student in this entire class meet the requirements?" All eyes suddenly turned toward the student body, searching for this sole qualified candidate. "It's him, Soren." Marcus pointed at me and shouted. He knew tattoos would disqualify applicants all along but deliberately kept quiet. Over 40 pairs of eyes locked onto me. Parents, teachers, classmates. In that instant, I was transported back to my past life, reliving the isolation and bullying from the entire class. But this time, I was ready. "Soren," the principal called sternly, "step forward, please." Taking a deep breath, I walked to the center of the conference room, standing shoulder to shoulder with Chloe and her father. The heavy musk of his cologne mixed with the acrid sweat of Chloe's nervousness. "Soren," the principal asked, "why didn't you get tattooed like your classmates?" The meeting room fell dead silent. I deliberately hesitated before whispering. "Because I'm allergic to tattoos." "Allergic?" a parent suddenly interjected. "With special admission opportunities, why would you ruin your future getting tattoos?" The question cut straight to the heart of the matter like a sharp blade. All eyes turned toward Chloe again. Chloe's voice was barely audible. "I thought art students had more lenient admission standards." "You thought?" Marcus's father sneered. "What gives you the right to think? Because of this thought of yours, my son lost his spot at Tsinghua Beijing Tech special enrollment." Seeing the situation escalate, Chloe's father quickly interjected. "Everyone, my daughter meant well. The tattoo can be removed, and we're willing to cover the costs." "Removed?" a mother shrieked. "That's not the point. Even if removed, there'll be scars. Top universities like Tsinghua Beijing Tech would never accept these kids now." The meeting room erupted into chaos again. Parents were shouting at the school administrators and Chloe's family, with some even throwing chairs. Amidst the mayhem, I quietly retreated to the sidelines. "By the way," I suddenly muttered, just loud enough for nearby classmates to hear, "Chloe's family tattoo parlor must have made a killing this time." Those words were like pouring gasoline on fire. Nearby students immediately exploded, rushing to tell their parents. Soon, louder shouts filled the meeting room. "Scam shop, making this dirty money. The shop must be shut down." Chloe's father turned pale instantly. He probably never expected things to escalate like this, not just a school dispute, but a direct threat to his livelihood. "Everyone calm down." Beads of sweat formed on his forehead. "Our prices are fair. We have proper business licenses." "Fair?" A parent pulled out their phone. "I've got price comparisons here. Your shop charges triple the market rate for the same tattoo." Chloe's father stood speechless, gaping. Chloe completely broke down, her tears smearing her flawless makeup into black streaks down her face. "I didn't know. I truly didn't expect this," she sobbed, her voice cracking. "I just wanted to help with the family business." The moment those words left her mouth, the meeting room fell dead silent. Every face froze, including her father's. Chloe's father barked sharply, but it was too late. "Helping the family business," Marcus's father repeated slowly, eyes glinting dangerously. "So this is a scam?" tricking kids into tattoos just to make money. That's not true, Chloe's father frantically explained. My daughter spoke without thinking, but no one was listening anymore. The parents were utterly enraged. Some began calling consumer protection agencies and media outlets, while others dialed the police directly. School administrators completely lost control of the situation as the meeting room descended into chaos. I stood in the corner, watching everything unfold with cold detachment. Chloe curled up on her chair like a paper doll drenched in rainstorm, her usual pride completely gone. Her father resembled a caged beast, futilely trying to defend himself while being overwhelmed by wave after wave of accusations. The students wore varied expressions, some furious, some remorseful, others still blindly defending Chloe. Olivia lingered at the crowd's edge, her eyes vacant as her fingers kept tracing the tattoo on her nape, as if it could be rubbed away. The principal finally called for a recess, urging everyone to calm down before continuing. Parents dispersed reluctantly, but the air remained thick with tension. Back in the classroom, the students split into clearly divided factions. Chloe's two loyal friends formed a defensive circle around her. Marcus led a group of boys glaring at her with undisguised hostility from the opposite side. The rest clustered in small groups. Dissecting the earlier drama, I returned to my seat and opened a book, feigning disinterest in it all, but my ears were perked, catching every word of their conversation. She took advantage of us. My parents said they'll sue. Should have learned from Soren. That last line almost made me burst out laughing. Learn from me. It's not like my past self didn't try warning them, and look how that turned out. Chloe suddenly stood up and bolted for the classroom door. Her movement was so abrupt that no one could react in time. The door slammed shut behind her with a thunderous bang. The classroom fell silent for a few seconds before erupting into even louder chatter. Did she just run away? Got cold feet now. Ha, this isn't over. Marcus stood up and scanned the classroom. Anyone still siding with Chloe? Speak up now. Not a single hand went up. Even her most loyal follower kept their head down, not daring to make a sound. Fine, Marcus sneered. From now on, Chloe doesn't exist in Class 4 senior year. Anyone who dares associate with her is going against all of us. This collective sentencing felt all too familiar. In my past life, I was the one being condemned. Now, it was Chloe's turn. As the dismissal bell rang, classmates drifted away in small groups without sparing me a glance. I took my time packing my bag, savoring this freedom of being invisible. Exiting the school gates, I spotted Olivia waiting by the roadside. Just as I passed by, she called out to me, Soren. Her voice trembled slightly. Can we talk? I stopped walking but didn't turn around. About what? You. She took a deep breath. You knew this would happen all along, didn't you? I slowly turned back with feigned innocence. Knew what? Everything. Her eyes were red-rimmed. The tattoos will affect college admissions. Chloe's been using us all along. Why didn't you stop us? The question hit home, staring at that hideous butterfly tattoo on her neck. I remembered she was the only one who hadn't bullied me in our past life. Olivia, I said softly, even if I'd warned you, would anyone have listened? She froze, tears glistening in her eyes under the sunset glow. No, I answered myself. You just think I'm being nosy again, same as before. With that, I turned and walked away, leaving her standing alone in the twilight. Chloe was absent from school for 3 straight days. An eerie calm hung over the classroom like the lull before a storm. Students huddled in small groups, whispering about the aftermath of parent-teacher conferences. Marcus had effectively become the class leader, his every remark now met with eager agreement. My dad says, he waved his phone deliberately loud. Chloe's shop is accused of scamming minors. They might get shut down. The classroom buzzed with agreement. I sat at my desk flipping through a book quietly, but my ears were pricked to catch every word. My parents are making me get my tattoo removed. A girl whispered, but it hurts so bad, and it takes multiple sessions to fully erase. Mine's already developing keloids. Another student touched the tattoo on their nape with a pained expression. The doctor said it might be infected. Marcus roared. This is all Chloe's fault. You know what? I checked. Those paints her family uses aren't imported at all. They're the cheapest domestic brand, costing less than $50. The words detonated like a bomb, instantly sending the classroom into chaos. What? She charged me $1,200, mine was $1,500, how utterly heartless. We can't let this slide. Marcus slammed the table as he stood up. I've created a group chat with the receipts and supplier invoices side by side. Everyone spread this. Let the whole school see Chloe's true colors. Phones emerged across the classroom as notification chimes erupted like popcorn. I stole a glance at mine. Marcus's new group chat was exploding with furious messages and damning screenshots flooding the feed. This is just the beginning, Marcus said, his voice trembling with rage. I've already reached out to journalists. They're very interested. The classroom door suddenly swung open, plunging everyone into silence. Ms. Laura entered with a grave expression. Class, regarding recent events, the school has formed an investigation committee, until further notice. I expect everyone to remain calm and refrain from any extreme behavior. Her gaze swept across the room, lingering briefly when it reached me. I maintained my usual composed expression, as if completely indifferent to this whole circus. Chloe will be absent through Friday, Ms. Laura continued, and when she returns, I hope you'll all, she paused to choose her words carefully, treat each other civilly. Marcus snorted quietly but said nothing. With a sigh, Ms. Laura began the lesson. The classroom was in chaos. Phones slid under desks as the group chat flooded with accusations against Chloe. Someone even dug up negative reviews of her family's tattoo parlor, while others were researching how to file complaints with consumer protection agencies. The moment Ms. Laura left after the bell, Marcus vaulted onto the teacher's platform. Listen up, he brandished his phone. Just got word Chloe's dad is liquidating the shop's assets. He's trying to skip town. The room erupted. Students shouted angrily, some slamming textbooks onto desks. Don't let him get away, call the police, expose them to the media. I sat in my seat, watching the escalating farce with cold detachment. Memories from my past life came flooding back. They'd been just as worked up then, only I'd been their target, because I didn't fit in, because I stuck my nose where it didn't belong, because I disrupted their precious unity. Calm down, everyone, Marcus clapped his hands. My dad's contacted all the parents. We're storming her family's shop tomorrow. The classroom erupted into chaotic discussions, the energy growing feverish. I noticed only Olivia and a few others stayed silent on the sidelines. After school, Olivia stopped me again. Soren, she said softly, do you think what they're doing is right? I pretended to think for a moment. I'm not sure, but if someone got scammed, isn't it reasonable to demand an explanation? But, she bit her lip. Wouldn't that be going too far? Staring at the spreading butterfly tattoo on Olivia's neck, I murmured, I wish someone could come with me to Tsinghua Beijing University of Science and Technology. The word struck like a knife, hitting her where it hurt most. Olivia's eyes instantly reddened as she turned away abruptly, shoulders trembling slightly, walking home slowly. My phone kept vibrating. Hundreds of messages flooded the group chat. Some suggested making protest banners. Others proposed contacting TV stations, and someone even posted photos and the address of Chloe's family shop. The next day, Chloe still didn't show up, but what drew more attention was Marcus and over a dozen classmates also being absent. Ms. Laura surveyed the nearly empty classroom with an expression darker than thunder. Does anyone know where Marcus and the others went? She asked. No one answered. Students exchanged knowing glances. With a sigh, Ms. Laura began taking attendance and started the lesson. Midway through the lesson, the classroom door suddenly burst open. Marcus rushed in with flushed cheeks, followed by several boys in the same state. Ms. Laura, he gasped breathlessly, sorry we're late. We were attending a community service activity. Ms. Laura fixed him with a stern look. What kind of community service requires skipping class? Marcus grinned without answering. He and the boys returned to their seats. Exchanging meaningful glances with classmates, an odd tension filled the room, as if everyone shared a secret the teacher wasn't in on. The moment the bell rang, Marcus was instantly swarmed by his classmates. How'd it go? Did you see her? What did her dad say? Marcus glanced around triumphantly, more than just saw it. We even made the local news. The classmates gasped in amazement, pulling out their phones to search. I quietly opened a news site too, and sure enough, there was a freshly published headline, Parents File Collective Complaint Against Tattoo Parlor Scamming Minors. 5. Though Chloe wasn't named directly, the accompanying photo clearly showed her father cornered by angry parents outside the shop. The comment section was even juicier, hundreds of posts calling them scam artists, should be shut down, and preying on students. Her dad folded. Marcus muttered under his breath. Promise double refunds, but in installments. Yeah, nice try. Where's Chloe? A girl asked. Marcus's face twisted in rage. That bitch is hiding upstairs. When we call her name, she just closes the curtains pretending she's not home. The classmates erupted in disapproving boos. Watching their furious expressions, I remembered how Chloe had orchestrated the same mob mentality in our past life. Only back then, I'd been the target. No worries, Marcus sneered, pulling out his phone. I filmed it and posted on Douyin. Already got 5,000 likes. Captioned a documentary, Our Scheming Class Queen Scamming Classmates. The news sparked cheers across the room. Students scrambled to watch the video, where Marcus and others could clearly be heard shouting, Chloe, get out, and give us back our hard-earned money. If she dares to show up at school. Marcus scanned the classroom with a dark expression. We'll make sure she regrets it. His words were met with enthusiastic agreement. Watching these classmates blinded by rage, I felt nothing. Memories from my past life flashed before me. They'd surrounded me like this before, hurling insults like buzzkill, outsider, and nosy busybody. After school, I deliberately took my time packing up. Soon only Olivia and I remained in the classroom. She sat frozen at her desk, staring blankly at her phone with a pale face. "Aren't you leaving?" I asked softly. She looked up with glistening tears in her eyes. "Soren, do you think we went too far?" I walked over and pretended to examine her phone screen. It showed Marcus's group video flooded with vicious comments. Well, I hesitated. This did go overboard, but Chloe is mainly to blame. She shouldn't have deceived everyone. Olivia's finger hovered over an especially vicious comment on the screen. But this isn't about justice anymore. They're destroying her. I didn't respond immediately. In my past life, they destroyed me the same way, starting with isolation, escalating to verbal attacks, and finally physical violence. No one thought it went too far. No one spoke up, until that accidental car crash. "Olivia," I said softly, "some actions carry inevitable consequences." She looked up at me, tears finally spilling over. But we're partly to blame too. We're the ones who trusted her." I don't know how to describe Olivia. At least in my past life, she was the only classmate who never bullied me. It's too late for this now. I patted her shoulder. Things have gone too far for anyone to stop. With that, I slung my backpack over my shoulder and left. Behind me, Olivia's muffled sobs echoed, but I didn't look back. Back home, the class group chat had blown up with 999 plus messages. Marcus posted more spoils of war, a flood of negative reviews for Chloe's family shop, complaint receipts from consumer associations, and even people doxing Chloe's social media accounts. I watched silently, fingers hovering over the screen before finally typing nothing. The flames were already raging. They didn't need my kindling. On Friday morning, I arrived at school earlier than usual. The empty classroom was bathed in sunlight streaming through the windows, illuminating Chloe's desk. I walked over slowly to see the once admired desk now vandalized with marker scribbles, liar, die, pay up, and other slurs. I buried myself in a book, feigning complete indifference. Chloe finally showed up 5 minutes before class. She stood at the classroom door, her face as pale as paper with dark circles under her eyes. Her usually well-groomed hair was hastily tied into a ponytail, and her uniform looked crumpled like she'd grabbed it in a hurry. The classroom fell silent instantly. All eyes fixed on her. Chloe's lips trembled slightly as her fingers clutched tightly at her backpack straps. "Well, look who finally decided to show up." Marcus broke the silence first, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Chloe didn't respond. With her head lowered, she hurried to her seat. When she noticed the graffiti on her desk, her body visibly stiffened momentarily before she composed herself and silently began wiping it down with a tissue. "Think that'll wipe off?" a girl shrilled. "Just like how you scammed us out of money, thinking you can erase it that easily." Chloe's hand froze mid-motion. She lifted her head, the fear in her eyes suddenly twisting into something darker, rage. "I scammed you." Her voice trembled with suppressed fury. "You're the greedy ones. You wanted shortcuts. Now that it's blown up in your faces, suddenly it's all my fault." The classroom erupted in chaos. No one expected Chloe to fight back under these circumstances. "Say that again, you bitch." Marcus stormed toward her, fists clenched. "Wasn't it you who promised tattoos wouldn't affect admissions? Wasn't it you who charged us triple?" Chloe tilted her head up, eyes blazing with desperate fury. "If I told you to jump off a cliff, would you? Too stupid to think for yourselves. No wonder you failed." The words were a match to gunpowder. Marcus's face turned crimson as he grabbed Chloe by the collar. "You're fucking dead." The classroom erupted into chaos instantly. Screams broke out. People started jeering, and some even pulled out their phones to record. "Let go of me," Chloe struggled. "You bunch of broke losers. If you're trying to scam money, just say it. Scam money," Marcus roared. "You're gonna pay up right fucking now. Immediately, in your dreams," Chloe shrieked. "You're not getting a single penny back." "Serves you right." Marcus completely lost control. He shoved Chloe to the ground, fist raised high. Just then, the school bell rang. Marcus's fist hung midair, his face contorted with rage. Chloe slumped on the floor, her uniform collar torn open to reveal a small tattoo on her collarbone, an intricate dollar sign. "Look," a girl shrieked, "she's got money tattooed. All she cares about is money." The revelation sent the entire class into greater fury. Marcus heaved ragged breaths before finally lowering his fists. "This isn't over," he snarled. "You'll see after school." Chloe slowly picked herself up from the floor, smoothing her disheveled clothes and hair. Her eyes held no tears, only a chilling, calculated calm. When Ms. Laura entered the classroom, she was met with an eerie tableau. Chloe standing isolated by her vandalized desk, Marcus and his gang circling her with predatory glares, while clusters of classmates lingered amidst the thick tension crackling in the air. "What's going on, Ms.?" Laura demanded sternly. No one answered. Chloe slowly took her seat, lowering her head to arrange her books. Marcus and the others grudgingly returned to their desks too, but everyone knew this was just a temporary ceasefire. Keeping my face blank, I opened the textbook and prepared for class like any ordinary good student. The calm before the storm is always the most oppressive, and what does any of this have to do with me? The final bell rang, yet no one moved. Students exchanged knowing glances as palpable tension hung thick in the air. I deliberately packed my bag while keeping tabs on the classroom dynamics through my peripheral vision. Chloe sat at her desk mechanically organizing textbooks, though someone had smeared the graffiti on her desk. The abusive words remained faintly visible. Marcus and his crew clustered at the back, loudly debating what liars deserved for everyone's benefit. Ms. Laura stood at the lectern, clearly sensing trouble. Class dismissed, everyone head straight home, she announced before singling out the troublemakers. Marcus, stop loitering with your group and pack up immediately. Got it, Ms. Laura, Marcus replied with a smirk that didn't reach his icy eyes. We'll be going home shortly. Ms. Laura hesitated before finally gathering her lesson plans and exiting the classroom. The moment the door clicked shut, the atmosphere shifted abruptly. Marcus's smile vanished, replaced by a chilling coldness. 5 boys rose simultaneously, advancing toward Chloe's desk. Their classmates wordlessly blocked both exits and the hallway windows, forming an impenetrable human barricade. Chloe, Marcus said with unnatural calm, we're asking you one last time, are you returning the money or not? Chloe lifted her head with a mocking smirk curling at her lips. Final answer, dream on. Marcus's facial muscles twitched violently. He slammed Chloe's desk with a thunderous crash. Quit pushing your fucking luck. Chloe flinched at the sudden aggression but quickly regained her infuriating composure. What, gonna hit me? She swept a contemptuous glance at the circling boys. Pathetic losers, is beating up girls all you're good for? The words acted like gasoline on flames. One boy yanked Chloe's backpack violently, appending its contents across the floor. Scattered textbooks, stationery, and makeup drew raucous laughter. Look how much makeup our class beauty queen brought. No wonder she smells amazing every day. That's some expensive perfume. Guess where all our tattoo money went? Chloe's face flushed crimson as she sprang up to reclaim her belongings, only to be shoved back into the chair by Marcus. What's the rush? Marcus sneered. Aren't you loaded? This is pocket change for you. He deliberately stepped on a lipstick, grinding it under his heel with a cringe-inducing crunch. Chloe's eyes widened as her chest heaved violently. You trash, she shrieked. My father knows people in the government. None of you will graduate. That lit the powder keg. A boy lunged forward, grabbing Chloe by the collar. Your dad, that crooked businessman, he's barely keeping his own head above water now. Chloe struggled fiercely, her nails raking bloody streaks down the boy's arm. Bitch, he hissed in pain, releasing his grip only to backhand her across the face. The sharp crack of the slap echoed through the classroom. Chloe's head snapped sideways, a strand of hair falling across her face like a veil over her expression. My heart remained still as stagnant water. In my past life, they'd circled me like this too, led by Chloe, their taunts and shoves feeling as fresh as yesterday. Last chance, Marcus leaned in, his voice dropping to a dangerous murmur. Return the money, apologize, or else. Chloe slowly raised her head, a chilling smirk playing at her lips. Or what? Kill me. Her voice suddenly sharpened to a shout. Go ahead, I dare any of you, spineless cowards. A dangerous glint flashed in Marcus's eyes. He yanked Chloe by her hair, dragging her off the chair. Think we won't. Chloe crashed onto the floor, her knees hitting the hard ground with a dull thud, yet she kept her chin up, defiance burning in her eyes. That all you've got? No wonder you needed family connections to get into prep school. Those words snapped the last thread of restraint. With a roar, Marcus grabbed a nearby chair and raised it high. Stop. The classroom door burst open as Ms. Laura and 2 security guards rushed in, but it was too late. The chair came crashing down with a sickening thud, drawing a piercing scream from Chloe. Chaos erupted instantly. Students shrieked. Some scrambled for the exits while guards barked orders to regain control. Call an ambulance. Now, Ms. Laura knelt beside Chloe, her voice trembling, and alert the police. Nobody leaves this room. Marcus snapped out of his daze, staring at the chair in his hands with ashen-faced horror. I didn't mean to, he stammered. She made me do this. No one listened to his explanations. One security guard firmly gripped his arm while another began taking head counts in the classroom. The wail of ambulance sirens grew louder. By the time paramedics rushed in with a stretcher, Chloe had already lost consciousness. Their faces turned grim as they quickly assessed her injuries. Watching Chloe being loaded onto the stretcher, blood dripping steadily from her forehead wound, my stomach twisted violently. The scene bore an uncanny resemblance to my past life tragedy, the same bloodshed, the same agony, just with different victims. Police arrived shortly afterward, taking Marcus and several students involved in the beating into custody. The remaining classmates were instructed to stay for questioning. The questioning lasted until past 8 p.m. In the end, only the students directly involved in the assault were taken away by police, while others were allowed to go home but required to remain available for further investigation. As I stepped out of the school gates, the night sky was studded with stars. I took a deep breath of the crisp air, experiencing an unfamiliar sensation. Putting away my do-gooder mentality and accepting others' fates, back home, I locked my bedroom door and lay on the bed. Quietly staring at the ceiling, my news app pushed a local alert: severe bullying incident at high school leaves female student seriously injured. While the report withheld names, commenters had already identified the school as Qingbei No. 1 High. The school will definitely suspend classes tomorrow for investigation. Marcus and others will likely face criminal detention. As for Chloe, judging by her injuries, she'll be hospitalized for months at least. Outside the window, a blood-red moon hung in the night sky like a cold, unfeeling eye watching over everything. Chloe passed away in the early hours of Saturday. It was a mess. Laura, who called me privately, her voice hoarse as if she hadn't slept all night. Soren, your classmate Chloe, passed away last night. Intracranial hemorrhage. Couldn't be saved. She paused. The school is suspending classes for a week. Counseling services will be available tomorrow if needed. Clutching my phone, I stared at the rising sun outside the window, momentarily at a loss for words. Finally, I managed only, "Thank you for letting me know, teacher." After hanging up, I opened the local news site. The headline screamed, "School bullying ends in tragedy. Teenage girl succumbs to injuries." The report carefully avoided naming specific schools or individuals, but the comment section had erupted. Some leaked it was Qingbei High. Others blamed lax school supervision. While most debated the root causes of juvenile violence, my phone kept vibrating with notifications from the newly formed parents group discussing the incident. Some called for collective action to punish the perpetrators, others worried about college entrance exam impacts, while many shared anti-bullying articles. I muted it and tossed the phone onto the bed. Outside the balcony, children from the neighborhood were chasing each other, their laughter ringing clear as bells. Unaware that just kilometers away in a hospital, a girl had just turned into a cold, lifeless corpse. Suddenly, I remembered the moment in my past life when I was bullied to death by my classmates. The last image before my eyes was their horrified faces. Chloe stood at the front of the crowd then, a faint smirk still lingering on her lips. No, she'll never smile again. A week later, school resumed. The door to class 4-3 was sealed shut with police tape, reportedly to remain closed until the investigation concluded. We were temporarily reassigned to other classrooms. An eerie atmosphere hung over the campus. Students walked with their heads down, speaking in hushed tones as if raising their voices might awaken some terrible specter. Teachers wore grim expressions, their minds wandering during lessons, often pausing mid-sentence to stare blankly into space. Marcus and 5 other students involved in the assault were formally arrested by police, facing charges of intentional injury resulting in death. News reports indicated they might be tried as adults due to the particularly heinous nature of the crime. During recess, I saw Chloe's clique huddled in a corner of the playground, their eyes red and swollen like a flock of birds that had lost their leader. No one went near them, as if they carried some contagious disease. In one corner of the campus, the principal was engaged in a heated argument with several parent representatives, including Marcus's father. The once arrogant official now hunched over, looking like he'd aged 20 years overnight. The following days felt like a surreal nightmare. Media outlets launched extensive coverage of the fatal school bullying case, thrusting our campus into the national spotlight. Government investigators arrived, placing the principal and several administrators on suspension pending inquiry. Remaining classmates transferred out one after another, scattering like rats abandoning a sinking ship. I kept attending school punctually every day, sitting quietly in the makeshift classroom to read and solve problems. In early June, the court delivered its first instance verdict. Marcus received a 12-year prison sentence as the primary perpetrator, while other participants got 6 to 10 years respectively. The principal was dismissed, and homeroom teacher Ms. Laura received a severe reprimand before being transferred to teach in a remote district. News reports stated that Chloe's parents received compensation, closed their tattoo parlor, and left the city. In the comments section, some expressed sympathy while others dredged up past grievances, saying they got what they deserved. I turned off the news and took out my Tsinghua Beijing Tech admission letter. As the only specially admitted student, I'd enrolled directly in September without taking the Gaokao. Ironically, the tragedy made the school prioritize my mental health. They assigned me a dedicated counselor. In July, I visited our old classroom alone. The seals had been torn off, the door left ajar, inside stood hollow, desks removed, leaving only peeling wall stains and dust piled in corners. 6. Chloe's seat remained. The abusive graffiti on her desk now lay buried under thick dust. Standing at the lectern, I surveyed what was once vibrant space, reduced to a graveyard silence. Sunlight streamed through the window, dust particles drifting lazily in the beams. I took a deep breath, as if still catching the metallic tang of blood from that day. "Goodbye," I whispered, shutting the door behind me forever. In September, I stood before the imposing gates of Tsinghua Beijing University of Science and Technology. Dragging my suitcase amid excited freshmen and beaming parents, no one could guess what shadows haunted this quiet, gaunt young man. Registration went smoothly. My dorm assignment paired me with a coding-obsessed roommate from northern China who barely spoke between furious keyboard clattering. Perfect. College life flowed by like still water. I attended classes, ate meals, slept, and occasionally visited the library. No clubs, no friendships, just moving through campus like a ghost. My grades hovered slightly above average, neither remarkable nor lacking, blending perfectly into the background. Sometimes I'd catch follow-up news about that case. Marcus's father was under investigation for corruption. Reporters tracked down Chloe's parents to a small-town grocery store. The education system launched some grand anti-bullying campaign, but none of that concerned me anymore. My revenge was complete. All debts settled. Now I just wanted to quietly get through these 4 years. Then find work far removed from it all. During sophomore year, a text arrived from an unknown number. "This is Mia from class 4, senior year. Can we talk?" Mia, one of Chloe's lackeys, once dumped trash in my backpack in our past life. I deleted the text without replying. A few days later, another message arrived. "We all regret what happened. Would you come to a class reunion we're organizing?" I stared at that message for a long time before blocking the number. During my junior year, I had a nightmare where Chloe stood by my bed covered in blood, demanding why I didn't save her. I wanted to ask her, "Then why didn't you save me?" But before I could speak, I woke up. In my senior year, I came across a job posting for an elementary school teacher in a remote mountain area. For some reason, I found myself staring at it for a long time before finally hitting save. At graduation, I stood in my cap and gown amidst the crowd, listening to the principal's impassioned speech. The harsh sunlight brought back memories of that summer class from senior year, the hurtful graffiti on Chloe's desk, Marcus raising his chair in that frozen moment. "Soren," my advisor called from across the quad, "time for graduation photos." I rearranged my face into a practiced smile and walked toward the waiting group. After taking photos, I wandered alone to the campus lakeside. The water was so clear I could see fish darting beneath the surface. Taking out a loaf of bread, I tore it into crumbs and scattered them across the lake. The crumbs floated momentarily before a frenzy of fish emerged to devour them, vanishing without a trace. That evening, I sent my job application to the Mountain Village Elementary School. A week later came their reply. They warmly welcomed outstanding graduates like me to join their team. At dawn the next day, I wheeled my suitcase past the school gates without hesitation, heading straight for the bus stop. The nearly empty bus allowed me to claim a window seat, watching the landscape rush backward. Chloe is dead, Marcus is in prison, our classmates have scattered to the winds, and here I remain, covered in scars with ice in my veins. As the car crossed the bridge, sunlight streamed through the window onto my hand, warm and bright. Suddenly I remembered my past self, that timid soul who'd craved acceptance and struggled so desperately to belong. We were all victims in the end. The bus reached its stop. Dragging my luggage, I stepped off toward the train station. A new life was beginning, this time without hatred or vengeance, just myself and the person I chose to become. The train station swarmed with crowds as I adjusted my backpack and merged into the human tide. No one noticed this ordinary young man, let alone what burdens he carried. Perfect. End. Story 2. My sister has an obsession with wild beasts and illegally purchased a brown bear. I tried to reason with her. "This bear has tasted human flesh. Once they start, they can't stop. We have to put it down." My sister accused me of being heartless. If humans can be forgiven for their mistakes, why can't a brown bear? This is discrimination. Later, when the bear went berserk, she shut the door and refused to let me in. The bear brutally shattered my limbs, gutted me, and devoured me alive. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the day my sister first brought that brown bear home. My intact limbs told me I'd been reborn. When I looked up, I saw my little sister showing off the brown bear she'd just bought to our parents. When they heard this bear had eaten humans before, our parents called it outrageous. "Arwen, have you been scammed? You actually bought a man-eating beast. What if it attacks humans again in the future?" My younger sister immediately retorted, "Bears are friends to humans. You shouldn't judge them with such prejudice." So what if it's attacked people before? Violence isn't the answer. That'll only make bears lose more faith in humanity. 1. Protecting wildlife is everyone's responsibility. Even murderers get parole eventually. Why can't you forgive a voiceless animal friend? Sometimes animals are kinder than humans. Don't you think, sis? A sudden chill ran through me as waves of bitter hatred surged in my heart. She asked me the same question in our past life. Out of concern for her and the family's safety, I carefully explained the risks involved in this matter. I told her that once a brown bear develops a taste for human flesh, it becomes addicted and must be put down. Brown bears also hold intense grudges. There was a case where a released bear didn't flee like tigers or lions would. Its first instinct was to attack the driver's cabin and then flip the vehicle. It's absolutely bent on revenge, and what's worse, it only feeds on live prey. My sister turned pale with shock, utterly bewildered at how her animal-loving sibling could suddenly betray the cause. When our parents realized the gravity of the situation, they flat out refused to let that brown bear through the door. But between the tantrums, theatrics, and emotional blackmail, my sister eventually got her way. The bear stayed. The brown bear was confined to a windowless cell with just one door. Every time she fed it, she'd pour out her grievances. If it weren't for my sister's deliberate scare tactics, you wouldn't be locked in the cell. You can't breathe fresh air. I can't take you out to play. And now you're starving like this. What a shame. Back then, I fully embraced my authority as the eldest sister, repeatedly emphasizing that the bear must remain securely confined, no release under any circumstances, and certainly no full meals. How about, I'll give you one chance, door, this time I won't lock you tight. While we're away, you can sneak out for some fresh air and find something to eat, but promise me you'll come back obediently afterwards. When we returned, the secret chamber door was indeed open. The brown bear had vanished. We went searching, only for the brown bear to ambush us from behind. Just as the brown bear was about to catch my sister, she grabbed my clothes and yanked me backward. She said urgently, "This is my sister. She's tried to starve you multiple times. If you want revenge, take it out on her." As I lay pinned by the brown bear, begging through tears for someone to call the police, my younger sister said with lingering fear, "Too, sis. Brother bear can't afford another scandal. It'll be the death of him. Just tough it out this once and help him, please." Mom wept silently behind the door. "Who told you to run your mouth? Don't you know how smart grizzlies are? Why'd you have to provoke it? Now it's gotten its revenge and you're making me worry. What an unfilial child," Dad said. "Just bad luck. Out of 4 people, why were you the only one who didn't make it inside? We couldn't exactly leave the door wide open waiting for you and let the bear waltz in. This is all your fault for not feeding it properly. If it were well fed, would it have attacked you? You started into this. I never got that emergency call from them. The grizzly mauled me to death. The agony still feels fresh in my memory, but their indifference hurt worse than the pain itself. Mom, Dad, little sister, this lifetime, you'll finally know what it feels like to be mauled by a grizzly." Lost in thought, my sister nudged me. "Hey, I'm talking to you." I snapped back to reality with a cold laugh. How should I know? Aren't Mom and Dad the ones calling the shots in this family? Besides, they adore you. If you talk to them properly, they'll agree. After hearing me out, my parents immediately scolded me for being unreasonable. My sister also blamed me for not standing united with her, but through her tantrums and theatrics, she still got her way. The brown bear was locked in that same secret room from its past life. Little did I know. My mom found me shortly after I was confined. "Sage, you know how your sister is. She's practically obsessed with animals to the point of madness. I don't feel comfortable leaving the brown bear in her care. Maybe you should take over feeding it from now on." My parents only had 2 daughters, me and my younger sister. Right around when my sister was born, my parents happened to make a fortune in their business. They believed all the family's wealth came because of her, so they spoiled her rotten. Always putting your sister first. My mom used the same guilt trip in my past life. We're family. If anything happens to your sister, we're all affected. Helping her is helping yourself. You wouldn't want anything bad to happen to the family, would you? Besides, Mom and Dad entrusted this to you because they believe in you. Don't let us down. I agreed in my past life, but now, I'm not buying into her empty promises. I could feed it, but you know how I can't resist my little sister's wheedling. What if she begs me to take the brown bear out for some air? If I cave, our family's done for. Besides, didn't Dad put me in charge of the factory's progress? Sis needs money for her Mrs. 7 collection. You want your beauty-boosting bird's nest, and Dad's eyeing that custom luxury fishing rod. Are we just giving up on all that? My parents run a shoe factory, but as they got older and less energetic, they passed the work on to me, of course. They kept tight control of the profits. I only got a basic monthly salary of 6,000 yuan. I used to think this was their way of toughening up their eldest daughter. Only after facing life and death did I realize, if they couldn't care less about your survival, why would they bother to hone you? True parental love plans for a child's distant future, but my parents' favor always rested with my younger sister. Even my name, Sage, was chosen because they'd hoped for a son. but it's their daughter Arwen who's truly the apple of their eye. My eyes glimmered. Why don't you ask your sister if we could postpone the Mrs. Seven matter? My mother was already hesitating after hearing my words. My sister went even further. No way, sis, you already let me down once. You've got to help me out this time, otherwise when mom and dad are gone, don't expect a single penny from the factory. Fine. I masked the ferocity in my eyes. Oh dear sister. So this has been your plan all along. I dodged the task of feeding the brown bear, forcing my mother to take over. She's timid by nature and has always been terrified of these large predators. After just a couple feedings, she kept making excuses for me to come home, while I claimed the factory kept me too busy to return, as if there's already a wild beast at home. Plus a temperamental demon lord who could snap any minute. No way I'm risking that. This actually happened in my past life too. Torn between fearing the grizzly and worrying about my parents, I kept running back and forth, but in this lifetime, I won't make that stupid mistake again. Dad, Mom, and little sister, the bitter fruits you sowed in our past life, you'll taste them slowly in this one. But I never expected Mom to call and pressure me to come home again. Her voice was thick with panic. Sage, the grizzly's roaring, it's gone wild, it's smashing through the walls. Get back here now, hurry, I sneered. Why call me back for a bear's growl instead of the police? Am I some ancient Greek god of bears? I feigned consolation. Isn't my little sister home? She's so clever, she'll handle it perfectly. Her sickly sweet voice crackled through the phone, punctuated by violent banging sounds. Don't be scared, sweetheart. I promise I'll take good care of you and keep you safe. Just stay quiet now, nice and quiet. Get used to your new home first, when you're rested. Big sister will take you out for some fresh air, okay, and this is my mom, your mom too, Mom, come quick, say hi to Bear, he's really smart and won't hurt you. 3. Arwen, my mother let out a shrill shriek over the phone. I could almost hear the sickening sound of flesh tearing, then the call abruptly ended. I called back half an hour later, no particular reason, I just needed to confirm if that thing had actually happened. The moment the call connected, I heard my mother's tearful and reproachful voice. So you finally decided to call. Do you even know your mother almost died just now? Turns out she'd just gotten mauled by a brown bear while trying to greet it. The skin on my entire right hand is gone. I'm hospitalized now. I told you I couldn't handle this job. If only you were here instead. Right, if I went back, I'd probably be the one getting mauled instead. That's exactly how it went down in our past life. I was feeding the brown bear for my sister, but she kept distracting me with pointless chatter. Brown bears are actually gentle creatures, they won't attack humans unless provoked first. I asked my sister, have you lost your damn mind? Then the bear swiped at me when I least expected it. The dull, tearing pain of flesh being ripped off still haunts me to this day. What chilled me to the bone were my sister's and mother's words. She said, see, brown bears are intelligent, they can tell kindness from hostility. If you insult it, of course it'll claw you. My mother added, listen to your sister, she's been sharp since childhood. She's definitely right about this. And think about it, why would that brown bear only scratch you? You must have treated it poorly. Be more patient with it next time. Now it's my mom who's getting scratched instead. She kept nagging over the phone. Sage, do brown bears really eat people? I looked it up online. They say once a bear tastes human flesh, it gets hooked. Now that it's in our house, do you think someday it might? Absolutely. I warned everyone in my past life, but nobody believed me. Not only did they refuse to believe me, but they just stood there watching as the brown bear mauled me. I let out a mocking laugh, cutting off my mother mid-sentence. That's ancient history. Mom, why are you still hung up on it? If you hadn't provoked it, why would it have scratched you? Bears are smart creatures. Maybe you weren't patient enough with it. Think about it. Mom, why did it attack you and nobody else? My mom was left speechless by the retort. A chilling anger kept rising in my chest. Turns out no one can truly understand another's pain. In my past life, when the bear mauled me, they just stood by watching with cold sneers. This time, it's my turn to sit comfortably on high and watch them squirm in mortal terror. Dad ended up calling me back home anyway. It all started when Mom and my sister got into an argument about the brown bear situation. Mom declared, either that thing goes, or I do. My little sister sobbed pitifully, if Brother Bear dies, I won't live either. You'll just have to watch your child die before you do. With that, she tried to jump off the building. Dad panicked, torn between his wife and beloved daughter, completely at a loss for words. In the end, his gaze still landed on me. Boss, say something. I chuckled. The hot potato got tossed back to me again. In our past life, since I was the one who got scratched, they didn't take it seriously at all. Now they finally realize how serious this is, but I'm not the same person I used to be. I'll talk to my sister first. The moment my sister saw me, she couldn't hold back her tears of grievance. Sis, how could Mom be so heartless? It was just a scratch. Why did she have to kill Shumda? Brother Bear is a living creature too, Mom. You've been a mother yourself. How could you be so cruel? What if I were the bear? If I scratched you too, would you beat me to death as well? I gave a cold chuckle. Sometimes I'm genuinely amazed by my little sister's kindness, but her misguided kindness cuts deeper than a knife to her family. I pinched my thigh hard to steady myself. You're right, Mom just wasn't thinking straight when she said that. Like you, I believe bears can be tamed. The bear merely scratched her. She's overreacting. But with more exposure to brown bears, she'll surely see how adorable they are. My words successfully made my sister laugh and won her over. She asked me, so what do we do now? Mom's dead set on killing Brother Bear. I never imagined my sister could trust me this much, yet it was my sister's trust that nearly pushed me to death's door again. I suggested to my sister, if we're keeping Big Bear, we'll need to restrict its freedom somewhat. How about building an additional outer wall? But my little sister protested tearfully, for, now Brother Bear will lose even more freedom. I tried to comfort her. Which do you think matters more, freedom or life? Besides, isn't freedom inevitable as long as you're alive? In the end, my little sister took my advice. Actually, I tried this method in my past life too. Back then, after getting scratched, I single-handedly fought my parents and sister to demand the brown bear's execution, but they wouldn't listen. I had to improvise by specially casting a new concrete door, iron gate plus stone gate. There's no way the brown bear could escape unless someone deliberately opened it, yet my crazy sister still went and opened that damn gate. Now, as the mediator, I'm bringing up this suggestion again. I must bring this up. I fear too many changes might shatter the hopes I've cherished since rebirth. Worse still, my parents living in constant fear. Uprooted like me, I need to reassure them. Their parents' eyes lit up when they heard this. That's brilliant. Double the protection. But when it came time to actually do the work, son, your mom's hand is still injured, your sister doesn't have much strength, and I'm tied up with my own tasks. How about you take charge of rebuilding that door? Long story short, my dad wants nothing to do with anything related to brown bears. He's afraid of the danger, and even more afraid of upsetting his lucky little daughter. I nodded with a smile. As it happens, I've got other things to attend to. In my past life, I built this stone gate myself to keep my sister's secret pet bear hidden from outsiders. This lifetime, I'm doing the same, mixing concrete and laying bricks. I worked swiftly to build the gate. As the walls rose higher, the chamber grew progressively darker. I saw the grizzly bear's gaze turn even more ferocious when it looked at me. That was the unmistakable aura of slaughter. Just like in my past life, a single glance was enough to make me tremble uncontrollably. The agony of being torn apart in my past life still courses through me. I can even hear the sickening crunch of my limbs being shattered, and I was fully conscious the entire time. I wish that thing would drop dead right now. But it must live, stay alive and end those 3 lives. I clenched my teeth and hastily built the door. Tears mingled with sweat as they seeped into the concrete. My terror only fueled the grizzly's frenzied roars and door pounding. I heard with my own ears the sound of my parents and sister driving away. They abandoned me once again. I also saw with my own eyes that the door latch on the iron gate had come loose. Perfect, just like in my past life. After finishing the door, I practically stumbled out of there in a panic, back in the living room. I took in the opulent decor, but my eyes locked onto that antique mahogany door on the first floor. In my previous life, I died right outside that very door. Without hesitation, I immediately opened my shoulder bag where I kept my tools. This door was incredibly sturdy. It could even stop a grizzly bear in its tracks, but this time, I didn't want the door to be that formidable. I unhesitatingly pulled out a wedge and loosened 3 screws on the door. 5. I deliberately broke the doorknob so it can't be locked from inside. This is the first floor storage room. Nobody usually comes in here, so they won't notice. Just to be safe, I made some other subtle modifications elsewhere. I also installed surveillance cameras around the house. The camera is connected to my phone. Mom, Dad, and little sis, I'm gonna watch every second when that grizzly mauls you. I can't wait. Let's keep leaving the bear feeding to Mom. She was complaining to me. I'm scared. Really scared it might scratch me again. I gave her some advice. If all else fails, just call the police to have the brown bear removed. Out of sight, out of mind. She'd love to, but she won't play the villain in front of her precious daughter. She begged me, you'd better come back right now. Go back. Not a chance. I'd rather die than go back there again, I said with sarcasm dripping through the phone. If you're worried, just skip a meal or 2. That big guy won't starve to death so easily. Oh right, my mother understood, her eyes gleaming with cunning. Why hadn't she thought of that? If we stop feeding that brown bear, wouldn't it just starve to death? And if it starves, her biggest problem would be solved, wouldn't it? At least I won't have to explain things to my younger daughter. This whole scheme was her older sister's idea anyway. I know what my mom's thinking, but I couldn't care less. I actually tried starving that brown bear in my past life too. It did get skinnier. But it didn't die. The brown bear just seemed listless, or as my sister put it, it was depressed. Then she let the bear out for some fresh air. You can imagine the havoc a vicious, starving brown bear could wreak. Strangely enough, this time around I found myself eagerly anticipating the bear's rampage. My mother strictly adheres to everything I say. The brown bear in the surveillance footage is visibly weakening, its gaze growing increasingly savage. I have no doubt how frenzied it would become if a living creature appeared before it now. It would likely pounce even on inanimate objects. It's not an established fact that brown bears only consume live prey. When starving, it'll even devour carrion without hesitation. That's why playing dead to escape a grizzly is just dark humor at best, even if we assume it strictly hunts live prey. But did you know how frighteningly intelligent they are? You play dead, it licks you. Do you have any idea how painful a single lick is? Just one lick would erase your face and make your eyeballs explode. It takes tremendous willpower to endure that. Even if you can endure the pain, it'll still lurk in the shadows, watching and waiting for you to stand up. A brown bear is never some dim-witted creature you can reason with, especially one that's tasted blood. Seeing the madness in its eyes made me even more afraid to go home. I threw myself into work, using busyness to mask my inner anxiety and that secret little spark of joy. Just then, my sister unexpectedly called to vent her frustrations. Mom's being so cruel, she barely feeds Shungda, 3 meals skipped in 2 days, now he's just skin and bones. Sis, come home quick and save our baby. He's practically our little brother. Adopting a brown bear as your little brother. Girl, you're truly one of a kind in history. Masking the darkness in my eyes, I chuckled into the phone. I'd love to, but sis is still setting up your Mrs. 7. Besides, what about your little leopard and tiger cubs? Giving up on them already? Never. My sister absolutely adores wild beasts. She loves brown bears, but she's equally fond of flashy little leopards and tigers she can show off. But, hey sis, can you help me figure something out? We can't let brother bear go unfed. I brought up my dad. In this household, my father might as well be invisible, even in my past life's trials. My father's presence was conspicuously absent, but one phrase of his still rings clear in my memory to this day. I hung up the phone. If you'd fed it properly, would it have eaten you? As if everything was my fault. Yeah, my bad. I was wrong from the very beginning. Shouldn't have let that brown bear into the house. I should have nipped the danger in the bud from the very beginning. But since I failed in my past life, I'm not going to bother this time around. We're family, after all. Why shouldn't they get a taste of the suffering I endured in my past life? 6. This is exactly how a loving family should function. I told my sister, you can't just rely on one person all the time. Mom's still traumatized after being bitten by that bear, so her fear is understandable. But Dad's different. He's a man with nerves of steel. Plus he's got nothing better to do. Perfect candidate for the job. Doesn't Dad love feeding fish? Feeding bears is basically the same thing, my sister agreed. Dad got roped into helping and immediately looked miserable. Then he blamed me. What kind of stupid idea was that? I laughed over the phone. I've read the research. Just keep a brown bear well fed and it won't bother with humans. My dad retorted, that's bullshit. A full bear would just be stronger. Brown bears are quite intelligent. If you feed them well, they'll surely feel grateful deep down, even if it escapes later. It definitely won't eat you, ally. Anyone with half a brain wouldn't believe such nonsense, yet my father actually took it to heart with some credulity. He had no idea this brown bear was nothing but a merciless tyrant at this stage. Even if you fed it, it wouldn't show an ounce of gratitude. On the contrary, that petty mind would only see you as its jailer and tormentor, waiting to exact vicious revenge given the chance. Dad, you'd better keep him well fed in this lifetime. There's a second reason why I want my dad to be the one feeding it. What if that starving grizzly bear gets picky when it attacks and decides to feast on just one person? I want it to torment my family, especially my dear sister, just like it toyed with me in my past life. I'm not worried the bear might lose its depression after getting full either, because Dad's a real genius. He actually took my words to heart. More than once, he muttered to the brown bear, Big Bear, I won't feed you till you're full, but I won't starve you either, just enough to keep you from resenting me, but not enough to give you too much strength. Brother Bear, you better remember all the trouble I went through for you. What kind of decent parents could possibly raise a weirdo like my sister? Of course, I'm no prize either. The half-fed brown bear gradually regained some strength and vitality. I was worried my sister wouldn't take the brown bear out for some fresh air, but soon realized I'd overthought it. Even if the bear wasn't depressed, she'd still let it out to stretch its legs. She overestimates her ability to tame wild animals, and greatly overrates the bear's affection for humans. And I actually stupidly wondered if the brown bear attacked me because I didn't feed it enough. How foolish of me. It was a beautiful sunny afternoon, on camera. My little sister was leaning against the doorframe murmuring affectionately, "Brother Bear, you've suffered too much staying with me, never getting enough to eat, never being free. I'm the only one at home who truly cares for you. Big sister talks sweet but never lifts a finger to help. Mom and Dad fear and despise you, always keeping you hungry. I'm powerless to change anything. You deserve so much better. Listen. We're going out today and won't be back till tomorrow. I'll leave the stone gate's lock undone, just push from inside and it'll open." Okay, that girl's got nerves of steel. I was trembling with excitement and didn't sleep a wink all night, but then something unexpected happened. "Sis, do you think we should install a security camera at home?" My heart skipped a beat. Had my sister discovered the camera I'd secretly installed? Then I relaxed again. If she'd really noticed, she wouldn't have said it like that. Playing dumb, I asked her, "What's with installing cameras?" But she just gave a hollow laugh, saying it was all a joke, then made a point of telling me, "Hey sis, I'm going out with Mom and Dad and won't be back until tomorrow afternoon. If you're free these couple days, remember to swing by and feed Bear for me." Okay, 7. You let the brown bear out, didn't even tell me, but now you want me to feed it. What are we feeding it? Me as the meal? Delivering takeout to a bear? Oh dear sister. You're so particular, even know to serve the brown bear fresh ingredients. I used to think she only awakened the darkest evil in human nature when facing life or death situations. She pushed me toward the grizzly's jaws just to save her own skin, but now I see even when she's safe, she still wants me dead. I'd really like to know, dear sister, why you want me gone. My resolve hardened as I nodded. Got it, don't worry, I'll handle it. Leave everything to me, I'll take care of all family matters after you're gone. The brown bear seemed accustomed to captivity. It didn't even budge when my sister first unlocked its enclosure. It wasn't until mealtime that it realized no one was feeding it, so it started banging on the door, and then, Pandora's box was opened. For the first time, I saw such human-like expressions on a brown bear's face, shock, mingled with delight. But as it rummaged through the house without finding the food it expected, its behavior grew increasingly violent. It prowled through every room of the cottage, both the first and second floors, searching for any trace of human presence. Nothing, absolutely nothing. The brown bear roared. It tried to climb over the villa gate, but surprisingly turned back at the last moment. It spent nearly the entire night restlessly moving about the house. The next day, just when I thought it had run out of tricks, it pulled off a move that completely caught me off guard. It returned to the secret room again, climbed onto the rooftop. With that movement, memories from my past life came rushing back, sending an instant chill down my spine. Yes, that's exactly how it happened in my previous life. When we got home and found the brown bear missing, we grabbed weapons and searched every room. We found nothing, until my little sister reminded us to check the secret room where it used to stay. The door was ajar. We peeked inside, nothing there. My sister shoved me inside. I got mad and snapped at her, yet gazing at the empty chamber, only the joy of survival remained. But soon, roar, a guttural howl. I'm at a loss for words to describe that feeling. Can you imagine opening the door, not finding the bear, only to suddenly spot it silently watching you from the rooftop? That's exactly what the brown bear did. For the first time, I truly grasped the intelligence of brown bears. I gulped hard, barely suppressing the terror in my heart. In my past life, I ran for dear life. Just as I broke free, my sister yanked me back, delivering me straight to the bear's jaws. She told me to endure it, to help the bear. All right, this time I'll help you properly. The phone rang. It was my sister calling to check in. I gave some brief responses before hanging up, then immediately kept my eyes glued to the surveillance feed. It was the first time I noticed how cautious my little sister could be. When we entered, our parents went first while she stayed behind, spotting the claw marks on the door and warning everyone to grab weapons. Our terrified parents wanted to call the police. My sister straight up snatched the phone away. "I trust Brother Bear. He wouldn't hurt us. Besides, he's probably not even home by now and has long since run away. Behind our villa complex lies a mountain inhabited by wildlife. That's wonderful." It was precisely this natural setting that made my little sister insist our parents buy the place. Cost $60 million, paid in full. I still remember that money was only earned after pulling all-nighters at the factory and landing a huge deal. 8. I insisted on putting the house under our parents' name, otherwise it would have been solely under my sister's. I'm not that stupid, looking back now. Did my sister want me dead to inherit our parents' fortune alone? Heh, the show's about to begin? We've searched everywhere at home, but it's just not there. That was my mom muttering to herself. My dad was so scared he broke into a cold sweat, but now he's starting to relax. Then there's nothing here. Let's get some rest. It's been a long day. But my sister objected. We haven't checked one last place. The secret room, a locked room. Impossible. Didn't you say brown bears are quite clever? Given the chance, why wouldn't it escape? At this point, the younger sister hadn't admitted to deliberately releasing the bear, only claiming the door wasn't sturdy enough. Her door's crap, just like everything else she does. The only reason you value her is that lucky break landing that big contract. Mom and Dad didn't want to go at first, but my sister insisted so strongly that they ended up going with her. When they reached the escape room entrance, "Dad, you go in, you go." That's when father and daughter showed their deep bond, politely deferring to each other. Neither of them wanted to go, until I saw their eyes meet briefly in the air before they simultaneously made their move. "Mom, you go." With a tremendous shove, Mom was pushed into that secret chamber. Mom let out a random scream, but quickly, Mom laughed with that post-disaster relief I once knew in a past life. Yet soon, how did it, up there? In the end, Mom never got to finish her last sentence. The brown bear suddenly leaped down from above, skull fractured. At that moment, I actually thought my mom was quite fortunate. At least she passed away peacefully without experiencing that soul-crushing terror. I wasn't the dutiful one, it was her devoted daughter who took her there, along with her darling husband. How fortunate. That scene completely stunned both my father and younger sister. The two of them bolted from the secret chamber, their faces ghostly pale. I distinctly heard their screams, shouts, and the sound of them blaming each other. "Didn't you say brown bears were smart and humane, that they wouldn't hurt us? Then why did kill your mom? She obviously didn't take care of it enough." Yes. At that moment, my dad shamefully bought into it. "I took such good care of it, fed it well. That brown bear would never eat me. Then why the hell is it still chasing me?" That old man, my father, actually broke down in terrified tears at that moment. How pathetic. Yet he kept up his pace effortlessly, running neck and neck with my sister. I was dying to know which of them would last till the end. Watching their desperate escape from behind the camera had me on edge. Finally, the little sister tripped over her own feet and quickly fell behind. The grizzly's massive paw was right behind her. At this critical moment, "Dad," my sister let out a piercing scream while desperately reaching out her hand. She was always frail, couldn't lift a finger to help. Delicate as a porcelain doll, yet in that moment, she summoned strength beyond anything she'd ever shown. That fragile girl somehow managed to yank my father with her bare hands. True, she can manipulate me just as easily as she does my father. We're nothing but stepping stones to her. The only difference is which stepping stone she finds more convenient. I really wonder how my father feels about all this. He got straight up heart-ripped, staring at the bare paw in his chest cavity. My father couldn't believe his eyes, that his most beloved youngest daughter had actually pushed him into the bear's jaws. Even less could he believe this bear had actually mauled him. His gaze followed my sister's retreating figure as if to say, "Why are you doing this to me?" I thought bears could understand human emotions. My sister seized that momentary pause to escape into the storage room on the first floor. Finally regaining some composure, my father screamed hysterically, "Help! Help! Call the police, quick." My sister was trembling behind a door. Dad, hang in there, you fed it, it won't eat you." I can't call the police, it's already eaten one person, if it eats again, they'll shoot it." My father's desperate scream, "Nine, after all I've done for you, this is how you repay me. Did I ask you to raise me?" My sister sobbed behind her hands. She always has to have the last word. "You brought me into this world without my consent. Then gave me an older sister to share everything with. Don't you know how much I hate sharing?" So our very existence was blocking her path to glory. What I don't get is, shouldn't I be the one who can't stand her existence? My dad wanted to call the police himself, but my sister had already snatched his phone. The grizzly began mercilessly gutting his belly. I could clearly feel my father had stopped breathing. I wanted to laugh, crying silently at the surveillance camera. "Dad, see? Whether it's hungry or not, it'll still eat people, and between the two of us, you're the only one who didn't make it inside. Was it because you were too slow?" The grizzly bear is fiercely vindictive. It knows there's still prey here. Besides, this prey isn't fresh anymore. It wants new game. In the end, it still slammed against that door I once obsessed over, the one no amount of knocking could ever open. "Stop knocking. Just stop." My sister muffled her sobs behind her hand. I could clearly see her trembling with tears streaming down her face. "So she gets scared too, huh?" She desperately braced against the door and locked it, only to realize the lock wouldn't hold. The doorknob turned while she was locking it from inside. My little sister always says brown bears are clever. They really are. It saw the doorknob turning. Its massive paw somehow managed to hit the door handle, after being reborn. I've studied extensive materials about brown bears. I know they're incredibly imitative. In remote areas, they'll even pack cow dung on their heads like hats and mimic human greetings. They can even learn to unlock keypad doors like humans. It's just a doorknob, child's play for it. Yet it turned anyway. My sister's petite frame stood in stark contrast to its massive bulk. With the door screws already loose and the knob's resistance gone, the brown bear forced its way inside in no time. With one swipe of its paw, My sister's face was instantly covered in blood, but she was clever after all. At the last moment, she suddenly collapsed stiffly, playing dead. The bear sniffed around her body, where the tongue licked. Crimson instantly bloomed. I watched my sister tremble in pain, yet she stubbornly refused to make a sound. The brown bear seemed genuinely disinterested now. I edged aside, keeping my eyes on my sister. The game of wits between them began, after nearly an hour. The brown bear seemed to lose patience and started heading for the door. That's when my sister finally picked up her phone. She called the police. So you do know how to call the police. It's just that you weren't the one facing the grizzly bear back then. Only your life is worth more than a grizzly bear. My sister quickly explained the situation over the phone. But there was a grizzly bear, a real bear, inside the villa. This is utterly unbelievable. They must have been verifying information nonstop over the phone. I watched my sister gradually break down from calmness. 10. It's real. It's real. Please hurry. Bring guns. My parents were already killed by the bear. My sister finally lost her temper, unaware that the brown bear had been lurking in the stairwell all along. When it heard my sister's voice, the bear slowly emerged to begin its gruesome feast. It still preferred starting with the limbs first. The light in my sister's eyes instantly faded as she kept sobbing into the phone. Perhaps they'd agreed to dispatch officers, because she finally managed to smile. But her thigh was already gone. Whether from shock or confusion, she inexplicably reached for her phone again. I saw my phone ringing. It was my sister calling. Sis. On the surveillance feed. I watched her struggling to contain her emotions as she said, Sis, Mom and Dad and I all miss you. We're having a family dinner tonight. Come join us. You're still trying to set me up even now. I gave a wry smile and declined. But sis, all this should have been yours. It was meant to be yours. With her final breath, she let out a furious roar, eyes blazing with an astonishing light. It was then I realized she too had remembered at that very moment, but I hung up the phone in haste. Watching as the grizzly began devouring her abdomen, at last, I too dialed emergency services. I know, help, please save my sister, she's being eaten alive by a brown bear. The police responded immediately, but by the time they arrived, the bear had already devoured my sister's head. I'll never understand why that bear fixated on my sister, maybe because she was the kindest soul. The kindest ones always taste the best. She must be thrilled to be with her favorite brown bear, and what about me? In the end, I sold that villa for a measly 30 million. The factory's gone too. My parents probably never realized in their lifetime that their seemingly ambitious eldest daughter was actually a homebody. I've got tens of millions stashed in the big four banks, living off the interest. I moved to a bustling neighborhood and bought a minimalist home. During renovations, I deliberately installed security windows, anti-theft doors, and iron gates. 11. My home is stocked with ample food supplies and legally permitted weapons. I even acquired certain items through the black market. I prayed I'd never have to use it, and I never did for the rest of my life. The end. Story 2. The scorching apocalypse arrived as the mummification virus swept across the world. The system teleported two beastmen right in front of me and my roommate. She chose the delicate merman over the rugged lion man, but the pampered merman kept holding her back. The lion man's combat prowess was extraordinary, carving a path through enemy lines with me in tow. On the very day our alliance formed, my dying roommate poisoned and abducted me. When I opened my eyes again, we'd somehow been transported back to the orc selection ceremony. 1. Chosen ones, you may now make your selection. A cold mechanical voice rang out. My eyes fluttered open, meeting the mermaid's pale blue gaze. I choose this one, my roommate Opal shouted. Darting toward another beastfolk and slapping a stamp on it with dramatic flair, the binding successful chime rang out. She exhaled in relief and shot me a challenging look. But you didn't see this coming, Sage. The Leo man is mine in this lifetime. This lifetime, looks like she's been reborn just like me, so, I said calmly, and, she clapped her hands in amusement. You know better than I do how powerful Leo is. Without him in our past life, you'd never have gained everyone's admiration or formed that alliance. Opal spread her arms wide, her eyes gleaming with manic intensity. In my past life, I chose the wrong orc. That's how you lucked out and got the upper hand, but the heavens gave me a second chance, and now the lion man is bound to me, so I, Opal, am destined to be the protagonist of this apocalypse, your savior, all of you. No wonder in my past life when I kindly treated her illness. She tricked me into drinking poison porridge on the Alliance's founding day, taking us both down together. Turns out this person had been a lunatic all along. Then I wish you success, oh savior. After giving a half-hearted reply, I went to form the bond with the mermaid. She stepped in front of me before I could move. Sage, we were roommates once, if you kneel and kowtow 3 times. Then willingly become my orc's plaything, its beast of burden and entertainment. I might just consider letting you. Opal's words died abruptly. My blade was already pressed against her delicate throat. Opal, you think you're something special, huh? Want me to kowtow 3 times and light incense for you too? Sage, you're insane. Her voice trembled. I'm the chosen protagonist here. Lay one finger on me and see what happens. The chosen protagonist, I sneered. Let's see if your plot armor can save you one more time. My grip tightened on the blade. A crimson line bloomed across her porcelain neck. Sob, I was wrong, Sage. Please don't do anything rash. I spoke without thinking. Just put the knife down. I'm begging you. I don't want to die. My face darkened. I'll admit it, for that split second, I genuinely wanted to kill her. After all, she was the one who ended me in my past life. But, my gaze traveled past Opal to the lion man behind her. His eyes half-lidded, his combat prowess was truly remarkable, but perfection eludes even beasts, just as it does men. Behind the brilliance lies an abyss. The lion man's other face is a mountain of corpses built from flesh and blood, dangerous enough to kill me 1,000 times over. A clean-slit throat would be too merciful for Opal. Didn't she want to be the protagonist of the apocalypse? Then let's see if fate will grant her that role. Right now, Opal was begging for mercy through snot and tears. I sheathed my knife and grabbed her by the collar. Get out, and don't you dare bother me again. Out, you're kicking me out. I paid the damn rent. What gives you the right? I twirled the knife deftly in one hand. She shuddered involuntarily. Fine, I'm leaving right now. I chased Opal and the lion man to the doorway. She took 2 steps back, her face instantly darkening. Sage, you're the one burning bridges tonight. That mermaid's nothing but dead weight. Binding with it will ruin you forever. Next time we meet, I'll grind you under my heel. I shut the door, ignoring her yapping. To my surprise, I turned straight into the mermaid's path. It gazed at me with calm eyes. Master, I've been waiting for you. It raised its hand before me. So now, bind yourself to me. Let me be your orc. From this day forth we share one life, one death, one destiny. 2. So hot. I kept squirming when a sudden chill crept across my waist. Reaching out, my fingers met something soft and slippery. I grabbed it and instinctively pressed it against my chest. Master, that's not allowed, a male voice chimed in. My eyes flew open. Soren was crouched beside me, watching me with an amused smile. You're awake. I released my grip on his tail and cleared my throat awkwardly. Awake now. The moment I spoke, it suddenly propped up its upper body and brought its face close to mine. Hot breath puffed against my ear. Now that you're awake, go find us some food. I'm certain my master will annihilate those revolting mummies today and return triumphant. The way they made such cruel words sound so suggestive actually made my breath catch. It seems the ancient legends didn't lie after all. Merfolk, all of them are beautiful monsters skilled in beguiling human hearts. I leaned out to peer through the window. The streets were piling up with more desiccated corpses. It's been 8 days. Still won't come out with me, yeah. I've been operating solo for a week now, though Opal kept calling merfolk deadweights. I just thought they were weaker in combat. Never imagined they couldn't even move alongside humans like other beast folk. The first couple days were manageable. 90% of people chose to stay home waiting for rescue. Getting supplies is still relatively easy for me. The zombies move slowly and aren't too numerous, easy to take down when encountered. But after a week, most areas have already fallen. Their numbers have multiplied, and they've become noticeably faster. With no rescue in sight, panic spread through the crowd, and looting began to break out. Some resorted to extreme violence, even killing over a few cans of soda. Orcs carry dimensional storage. Having him around would take a huge load off my shoulders. Besides, once bonded, we share the same system interface, including hunger and thirst meters. You'll die if it reaches 0. The messed up part is we have to stay together just to replenish these through eating and drinking. If he can't leave, I'll have to clock in daily just to eat here for my health. It's such a hassle and a total time waster. Soren was sitting on the edge of the bed at that moment. Upon hearing my question, it let its tail droop to the floor. Master, I'll give it a try. It stood up. The next second, it let out a muffled groan and collapsed straight down. Startled, I rushed to catch it. Only then did I notice countless red marks covering the other side of its tail. Are you hurt? I asked. Soren frantically hid his tail behind his back. Master, I'm fine. Don't worry. Speak. It opened its mouth, hesitated for a few seconds, then whispered. Soren wanted to help ease your burdens like other beast folk do, so I quietly opened the balcony door while you were asleep. But merfolk naturally fear heat. The moment my tail touched the outdoor ground, it got scalded. I remember your conversation that night, though I don't understand this past lives concept. I can guess, that lion man was originally your beastfolk companion, wasn't he? At this point, he let out a sigh and lowered his head. That lion guy looks so protective, unlike me who just ends up being a burden. Right now, Soren looks like a pitiful little puppy with hurt feelings. After muttering a few more words to itself, it suddenly raised its head, tear-filled eyes with reddened corners. Master, Have you ever regretted binding with me? Outside, the temperature soared to 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. 3. Downstairs, desiccated corpses wailed endlessly. I'm a driven woman who's been reborn to continue building my empire. This should be an adrenaline-pumping power fantasy, yet the mermaid before me clearly doesn't belong in this scene. Could the system have actually glitched, appearing in titles like Mermaid Reborn, Love Me Again, The Mermaid's Deadly Romance, Siren's Seduction? Did you really bring that cliché plot device here? This is the apocalypse, a scorching hot apocalypse. We're fighting for survival here, and you're asking if I have regrets. I do regret it. Once an orc is bound, the connection cannot be severed. Now we're bound together by a single life force. To prevent its emotions from endangering my life, I have no choice but to humor it. I smoothed Soren's hair and shook my head. Of course I don't regret it. You're wonderful, though the other beastfolk can follow orders. I what? He asked with sparkling eyes. I maintained a calm exterior while desperately scrambling for compliments in my mind. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of the tail beside me. I clapped my hands. But your tail is so cool. It helps me stay cool and sleep soundly every night. That's absolutely amazing in this scorching weather. Soren, you're the best. With that, I immediately stood up to put on my heat-resistant gear, stop overthinking and focus on recovering. I've got everything handled outside. You won't go hungry. Turns out not everyone can provide emotional support. This thing is even more exhausting than killing zombies. Master, are you absolutely certain? It pressed. I nodded. Yes, absolutely. Truer than pure gold. All right, I've got to go now. I'll bring back treats. The sudden flash of my personal interface cut off my unfinished words. Congratulations, host, you've completed the Mermaid exclusive quest, being chosen with conviction. First quest reward, 50 attribute points freely distributable among combat, companionship, and storage. Mermaid exclusive interface unlocked. Subsequent quests can be accessed through panel prompts. Before I could process what happened, 3 new attribute lines appeared in the previously empty bottom left panel. Full capacity is 100, currently all at 0. Shahu bot prevents document forgery. For bookfinding bots, choose Shahu, reliable heavy checkmark and scam-free, exclusive dashboard, so mermaids are actually raise entering characters. Jackpot. Soren, look, you can come out with me now. I pointed at the companion status bar and turned to him excitedly. Soren was staring straight at me. Seems my master really wants us to be inseparable. What nonsense is he talking about? Going out together makes it easier for me to load stuff into the space. Of course I want to. I forced a smile and didn't respond to him, shifted my gaze to those 50 skill points. He stored them in his dimensional inventory. As for combat prowess, after a moment's hesitation, I decided to go all in and max out the follow skill. Skill points allocation complete. After the notification chime, I turned to look at Soren on the bed. He didn't seem any different, except for slightly flushed cheeks. I opened the balcony door and beckoned to him. Soren, come out and give it a try. His face turned even redder after I said that. That's when I noticed, it was still under the blanket, in the scorching heat. Trying to get heatstroke or what? Are you okay? Why on earth are you covering? I walked over while saying this and reached to pull. Master, don't. It raised a hand to stop me, but I was quicker, and then, I saw a pair of powerful, slender legs. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Little Tiger bot anti-piracy file protection. Choose little for bookfinding bots. Tiger, reliable and trustworthy, no pitfalls. For, is this what happens when you drag the follow attribute halfway? Wow, the fishtail just turned into legs. I immediately turned around and theatrically covered my eyes with my hand, and of course, I couldn't resist saying that classic line, I didn't see anything. Never gets old seeing Master flustered like this. He murmured. Huh, what did you say? I asked, puzzled. What do you mean, how many times? Isn't this our first binding? Never mind, he said, his tone suddenly tinged with melancholy. Before I could press further, I felt a tug at my sleeve. Master, could you help me find a pair of pants? He spoke up, reverting to his usual obedient puppy demeanor. Maybe I just misheard earlier. A few minutes later, I scratched my head sheepishly while looking at him. Sorry about this. Just bear with the outfit for now. There's a mall 2 blocks away where we can get you changed. Soren glanced down at the floor-length skirt, then back up at me, on the verge of falling apart, yet still managing a smile. What I wear doesn't matter. Being able to go out with my owner is what truly counts. The moment those words left his mouth, a guttural roar echoed from outside the room. Then, the front door began to shudder. Oh no. The ghouls are banging on the door. That can't be right. Based on my past life experience, ghouls usually roam the streets during the first week and never climb stairs, but since Soren couldn't go out with me, I took precautions. I actually skinned 2 ghouls' leather belts during my last outing and pasted them on the front door. The mummy scent at the entrance should have been enough to throw them off, though these decoys do need regular replacement. But it's barely the 3rd day, no way the scent faded this fast. Just then, A yellowish-green shadow flashed into view downstairs. It darted swiftly through the rows of mummified corpses before halting directly across from me on the balcony. That streak of yellow was the Lion Man. As for the green, it was Opal, clad in corpse leather, riding on its back, our eyes locked midair. She tilted her head triumphantly and shouted, "My bad, Sage. Thought only that useless cripple was home. Figured I'd send the mummy in to finish it off. That'd take you out too. Didn't expect you'd be here. Perfect, you two can die together. Ha ha, ha ha." She threw her head back in maniacal laughter, my hands clenched involuntarily into fists at my sides. At that moment, the gate crashed to the ground with a thunderous boom. Countless mummified corpses came pouring in frantically. For secure document protection against piracy, choose Shahubot, reliable, stable, and hassle-free. Soren, go. 5. I grabbed its arm, ready to leap off the balcony. Not only did he not move, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me into his arms. "Seriously, dude, you're pulling romantic moves in a life-or-death situation. Are you out of your mind? Hurry up and, look." He shot me a knowing glance and cut me off mid-sentence. I didn't turn around immediately, because I'd also noticed the invading mummies weren't attacking us. They seemed drawn by something more important. Stampeding toward the balcony before leaping down. What's going on? I wondered, also. "Could you let go? I can barely breathe." Soren reluctantly loosened his grip around me, but before I could relax for even 2 seconds, he slipped his arm around my waist again. I was suddenly lifted into the air as he carried me to the other side. While moving me, he swiftly raised his leg and delivered a powerful kick forward. A desiccated corpse had its head kicked clean off. Had we not switched positions, it would have been me who lost my life. I thanked him, though something felt off. Soren's combat ability is literally 0, but that fluid combo just now, clearly skilled. Thanks, piss off, disgusting creep. Sage, you bitch, what underhanded tricks did you pull? Why are these beasts all coming after me? Get away, get the hell away. Opal kept cursing downstairs. A horde of desiccated corpses was hot on her heels. They came in waves, their numbers overwhelming like a tidal surge. It suddenly occurred to me that I might have heard a faint door opening sound while getting clothes for Soren, combined with his calm reaction. "You're doing?" I asked. Soren nodded and admitted frankly, "Yes, I spotted them the moment they showed up, and accidentally overheard that woman's scheme. There happened to be a fresh corpse in the hallway, so I skinned it and sandwiched the hide between those 2 other skins." Human blood really is the best bait for mummies. But he couldn't have taken more than 10 seconds opening and closing that door. He not only skinned the corpse in such a short time, but also sandwiched it between those 2 flayed skins on the door. He gently shook my hand. "I only did this for safety reasons. Master doesn't think I'm cruel, does he?" Staring at that innocent face before me, I instinctively wanted to take 2 steps back. But the attribute prompt on the panel made me reconsider. How could that be? You did great, after all. Opal tried to harm us first. Soren, thank you for protecting me. You're truly the best orc in the world. I'm so lucky to have you. I took a step forward and gently embraced him. The moment their bodies touched, the notification chime sounded again. "Congratulations, host. You've completed the Mermaid exclusive quest, Ultimate Recognition. Quest reward, 30 skill points, a Beastkin exclusive system." I'd say Sage's bootlicking system would be a more accurate name. With the skill points secured, I slipped out of his embrace. "Now that the following issue is resolved, time to get down to business. We can't stay here anymore. Let's head to Zone." Zone was where I established the alliance in my past life. It's also where I met my best companion, Arya. Arya was a few months younger than me, always tagging along calling me Big Sis this and Big Sis that. She doesn't have orcs, nor is she skilled at killing ghouls, but she's a wizard with electronics. 6. Bringing endless convenience to our lives. We met during a ghoul extermination operation. The undead are hunting humans. The screams reached us while Lion Man and I were browsing the nearby electronics mall. Lion Man's eyes lit up with excitement when he heard the noise. I knew he was battle-hardened, but that commotion sounded like serious business. In the apocalypse, your own safety comes first. Our main objective today is finding a generator. Don't go looking for trouble. The Lion Man hung his head and fell silent. On our way back, we passed by the battlefield, just in time to witness the girl pushing corpses off herself and staggering to her feet. She survived by playing dead. When our eyes met, she was visibly shaken, so shaken she didn't even notice the 2 ghouls feasting on corpses nearby. The mummies instantly stopped feeding at the sound. Their stiff necks creaked as they turned, bearing blood-red maws before lunging at her. The girl stood petrified. Frozen in terror. 2 mummies, 1 life, might as well lend a hand. I pulled the knife from my ankle and gave the Lion Man a pat. He understood instantly, charging forward with me on his back. After taking down the mummy, I glanced at her still dazed face, shaking his head. He turned to leave. I'll save who I can within my power, but whether she makes it in the end depends entirely on herself. He'd barely taken 2 steps when the girl suddenly came running over. "Sis, thank you for saving me. I'm Arya, my life is yours now. Your life means nothing to me." I knew that was just an excuse. What she really wanted was to travel with us. "Sis, I may not be good at fighting, but I'm an amazing cook." It's been ages since I last heard that term. She seemed to realize something too, awkwardly rubbing the tip of her nose. "And that's not all, I can fix appliances too, anything electrical. As long as there's power, cooking, electrical appliances." I remembered the generator I searched for today, and the broken fan and fridge at home. "Can you fix anything?" I asked. She nodded vigorously. "Yep, I can fix anything. ACs, TVs, washing machines, lamps, fans, microwaves." I gave her a once-over. "Just so we're clear, if you're lying, I won't hesitate to kick you out." She thumped her chest confidently. "Don't worry, sis, I've got this." And just like that, I took her back with me. Gotta admit, that girl's got some real skills. I handle sourcing parts while she does assembly and repairs. You could say we've started a whole new chapter. Later, when forming the alliance, I'd always emphasize this line when recruiting talent: "We've got central air conditioning here." But then she died. 3 days before the alliance was established, there was another faction that rivaled my own in strength. Their leader went by the name Archer. I let my guard down and fell into his trap. Just as I was surrounded by ghouls with no backup, Arya arrived. Yes, a girl who'd been terrified by mummies countless times. Despite her timid nature, charged in with explosives without hesitation. The blast was devastating. It wiped out those mummies, and took Arya's life with them. Perhaps this is what they call a death curse. If only she hadn't said, "Give me your life back then," that very night. I led my team to storm Archer's stronghold. I threw him into the dry well, then tossed one of Arya's identical explosives after him. "Arya, you owe me nothing in this lifetime, so you better stay alive for me." Thanks to Opal, she lured all the zombies away from downstairs, but after getting out, I realized I'd overlooked something crucial. We're about 100 kilometers away from Zone 6. In my past life, a lion man carried me on his back, and he was crazy fast. We could zip between districts in no time, but now, I glanced at the pale, fragile-looking boy beside me. "Fine. I'll have to rely on myself then. We'll probably be walking for 3 or 4 days. First I'll find you some clothes, then gather more food and water. Oh, and we should stock up on weapons too. Just grab whatever we come across." Surprisingly, Soren didn't respond immediately. I looked at him in confusion as he pressed his lips together, seeming somewhat downcast. "What's wrong?" I asked. He shook his head. "It's nothing, master. Just some sad thoughts. I'll work through them on my own." Why is he putting on such a pitiful act today? "Go on, what's the matter this time?" Soren came to a halt and spoke slowly. "Master must be so disappointed in me. If only I had the build and speed of a lion man, you wouldn't have to endure walking. You must be missing the lion man right now." Sigh. "I'm really useless, aren't I?" I scratched my head. Every orc has their strengths. Sure, lion men can carry people, but you're easy on the eyes, downright gorgeous actually. He took a step forward and lowered his head, until his face was just a fist's width from mine. "Since Master likes my face so much, you're only allowed to look at me from now on. No more staring at other beastmen, okay? It really hurt my feelings when you kept looking at that lion man earlier." All right, I get it. Let's just go already." My face felt strangely warm. I casually agreed to cut the conversation short, pushed his face away and bolted toward the mall like escaping. The mall has 4 floors in total. The basement houses a chain supermarket. While the first floor sells gold jewelry and cosmetics, the second and third floors are clothing stores, with dining options on the top level. Compared to the upper floors, the basement level was noticeably noisier. The blood-stained clothes and gnawed mannequins made it clear a fight had broken out here recently. I found a relatively clean store and had Soren change into fresh clothes quickly. Grabbed a few extra just in case. "With so many people downstairs attracting zombies, should we still go?" he asked. I was just thinking the same thing, but as the saying goes, in for a penny, in for a pound. Besides, we're running dangerously low on food. This essential resource will only become harder to find as time goes on. We've still got several days' journey ahead. Even though going down now is risky, we have no choice. Go on. We need to move quickly. The supermarket was in even worse shape than I'd imagined. Everyone's on a crazy shopping spree. "Mommy, why aren't they paying for anything?" A little girl looked up and asked her mother. The woman's hands froze while tearing open the instant noodle packet. "Because now, there are no more rules or order left." "But is this really right?" the girl pressed. The mother smiled helplessly. "It's wrong, but the fault isn't ours. It's this catastrophe. Those terrifying monsters. People created rules and order. As long as we keep living, we'll surely see this world restored. She pulled out a flatbread and pressed it into the girl's hands. There you go, sweetheart, eat up. We don't have orcs to carry things for us, so we can't take much. Eat your fill and grow up strong. It wasn't until the mother and daughter disappeared around the grocery aisle that I snapped out of my daze. Though I only survived 2 years in the apocalypse during my past life. But I believed her words. This world will surely return to how it once was. Just as I tossed the last few packs of instant noodles into Soren's space, a commotion suddenly erupted at the doorway. No way, zombies already. I looked up and realized they weren't zombies, but a group of black-clad men swaggering in with machetes. This store belongs to us now. Smart people will drop their stuff and get out, unless you want trouble. One of the black-clad men raised his blade and swung at the nearest woman who was searching through belongings. The woman collapsed to the ground, coughing up blood before falling silent. Mommy, mommy. The girl threw herself onto the woman's corpse, weeping until she nearly fainted. Just moments ago, they were full of life right before my eyes. No, they're worlds apart, that's right. The woman casually cut down by the black-clad figure was that very mother from earlier. Shut the hell up. If you miss her that much, I'll send you to meet your damn mother. The man raised his cleaver again, swinging it toward the girl. I quickly drew my knife and charged at him. The black-clad figure halted mid-motion and turned to face me. Another fool rushing to die. Guess I'll oblige you first. 7. He spat and charged at me. There's a clear disparity in strength between men and women, but fighting isn't just about brute strength. Without exaggeration, I've slain thousands of zombies in my past life. Just some blustering fool, hardly worth my time. True enough, within 5 seconds I had him pinned beneath my boot. Smiling, I raised the machete I'd wrested from his grasp. You seem to enjoy cutting people down. Let me give it a try today. No sooner had he spoken than I lopped off one of his arms. I nodded. Not bad at all. Let me try again. Then came the other one. The man had already wet himself. Sis, big sis, I was wrong. Spare my life. I swear I'll. Shoo. I pressed my index finger to my lips. I was going to spare you, but you're just too loud. So, go to hell. The blade fell in one swift motion. His lips were sealed forever. The girl stared at me blankly. I knelt before her and gently closed her mother's eyes. Sweetheart, your mother left something unsaid. The reason this world's rules and order are in chaos isn't just disasters and monsters, it's scum like them. Scum. A familiar voice cut through the air. A man stepped forward from the back of the crowd. With exaggerated elegance, he gave me a theatrical bow. His back remained bent, yet he lifted his head. The corner of his lips curled. You call us scum, but what makes you any better? My heart pounded violently at this moment, as if trying to leap out of my chest. I knew. It was trembling with excitement, with joy. The bastard came knocking on death's door himself, and that man was Archer Sked, slowly straightening his posture. Where are your manners? How rude not to return the greeting. I stood up. Just as I was about to speak, Soren suddenly stepped in front of me, returning the bow. Absolutely not. My master only bows face to face with me. Who do you think you are? And why are you smiling at my master? I might just have to gouge your eyes out. Master, Archer turned with amusement to face the group of black-clad men. Did you all hear that? He actually called this woman master. Gouge out my eyes. Hilarious. I'll stare all I want. Come try it. In the blink of an eye, Soren materialized before him. Yeah, I'm here. The next instant, Archer let out a blood-curdling scream and dropped to his knees, clutching his eyes. Blood gushed relentlessly between his fingers. I stared at Soren in shock, not just because of his incredible speed, but because he's an orc who dares raise a hand against humans. I had my suspicions during the skinning, but figured the system didn't punish him because it was just a corpse. But Archer's a living, breathing person. Not only does it have a dedicated interface, but it can also bypass system restrictions. He's far more complex than he appears. Kill them, slaughter them all, Archer roared. Yet not a single soul dared to step forward. In his past life, he'd been just as fond of barking orders. His true motive for building this faction was never about providing shelter for others, it was merely to feed his own delusions of superiority. In that case, I'll let them personally send you to your grave. I jerked my chin toward the door. Soren got the hint and blocked the doorway. I grabbed a fruit knife from the shelf and tossed it at the black-clad men's feet. Now the tables have turned. I pointed at Archer. Stab him once if you value your life. Anywhere will do, then you're free to go. The group exchanged uneasy glances, then one man raised his hand. Let me do it. This bastard tricked me into joining his crew. The atrocities he's committed deserve death. I don't want to die, I'll stab him first. Once someone takes the first step in matters like this, others will inevitably follow suit. Archer tried to dodge, but without his eyes, he stood no chance of avoiding it. His continuous screams filled me with immense satisfaction. As time passed, his voice grew fainter and fainter. We've never had any grievances. Why would you do this to me? In my past life, I'd asked those very words when he framed me. What did he say back then? Oh right, he said, because I damn well please. Because I damn well please. I threw his exact words right back at him. Master, stop chatting with him. It's time we left. Soren approached. Time to go. The stench of blood is so strong here. The ghouls will be upon us any moment. As for Archer, who's barely hanging on, he'll soon become ghoul chow. Everyone, ghouls are coming. We need to leave now. I've said my piece. Whether they listen is up to them. Before leaving, I glanced at the little girl. I wasn't in any position to care for her, as the road ahead wasn't going to be smooth for me, though I noticed a middle-aged woman with salt and pepper hair had joined her side. Little one, I've lost my daughter too. If you'd like, come home with me. Calamity magnifies malice, but kindness is the light that illuminates the human heart. Soren and I traveled onward with many stops along the way, raiding supermarkets for food, scavenging hardware stores for tools. Of course, I didn't hesitate to stockpile other miscellaneous supplies either. 8. By the time we reached Sony, nearly a week had passed. During that time, I completed several more missions and earned 120 skill points. Master, I think my inventory only has a few hundred slots left before it's full, he said. Almost full. Guess it's time for an upgrade then. I pulled out 30 points and invested them in the storage attribute bar. The capacity just increased 30-fold. You're amazing, Master, he praised with a smile. But after these days together, I'd realized his smile never reached his eyes. It was only skin deep, so he wasn't surprised by this change. Last time when his tail transformed into legs, he simply asked me to fetch pants. Not a trace of surprise on his face, which means everything was unfolding exactly as he'd anticipated. Come to think of it, the completion of previous missions and point allocations, mostly tied to his overt and covert guidance. What other secrets is he still hiding from me? Just then, a scream pierced through the air nearby. I scanned the surrounding buildings. It suddenly hit me. We were standing near the very spot where I first met Arya. With the Lion Man's help in my past life, I reached the resource-rich zone by the 5th day of the apocalypse. This lifetime has been nothing but constant travel, making me gradually lose track of time. I gaze at the sky, a cloudless expanse of azure. Sis, when you charged in on that lion and took down the mummy with a single strike, you looked like a total warrior goddess. I loved the weather that day, crystal clear skies without a single cloud. But I loved even more how you glowed in the sunlight. Arya's words echoed clearly in my mind. Wait, the mummy ambush is happening today. Soren, get out of here. The situation looked peculiar when we arrived. The expected battle scene never materialized. Though numerous, the mummies merely formed a tightening circle without attacking. Inside the circle, men stood with axes raised, shielding the elderly, women, and children behind them. I quickly scanned the area but couldn't spot Arya anywhere. You promised we'd be spared if we handed over the water. 11 AOH bot circled greater than anti-piracy stamp circled greater than bookfinder bot heavy checkmark the reliable choice, guaranteed satisfaction. You heartless bastard, taking the goods but leaving me to die, you thieving scum. I'll haunt you from my grave. They glared resentfully toward the upper left, water crossing, protection needed. I followed the crowd's gaze. There stood a small art gallery. About a dozen people stood on the art museum's rooftop terrace. At the center stood familiar faces, Opal and the Lion Man. Opal let out 2 mocking laughs. You fools actually thought I'd save you, with all those mummies around. If my precious Lion Man gets hurt, could you even take responsibility? Well, we've got the water now. We can live comfortably for a few more days. I'd say your deaths were worth it. Opal, you're becoming utterly shameless. I spoke up. Sage, how did you— wait, who's that? She pointed in shock at Soren standing beside me. You've got a selective memory, haven't you? He's my merman, don't you remember? A merman? Impossible. How can he follow you out here? And what's with his legs? She leapt down from the Lion Man's back, landing right in front of me. The others came running over too. What's it to you? I shot her a cold glare. The gathering crowd made the mummies split into 2 groups, closing in on our position. Give them back their water, I said. Give back? Since when did you become such a busybody, Sage? Besides, do you still think I'm the same Opal who cowered under your threats? Never mind about the leg. It doesn't matter now. You won't live to see tomorrow anyway. With that, she threw a meaningful glance over her shoulder. As several figures stepped forward, Opal leaned lazily against the Lion Man. Kill her. Let's give the mummies some appetizers. Yes, you're dead. I cracked my knuckles and lunged forward, slitting one attacker's throat before they could react. The battle erupted in an instant. The scent of blood drew more walking corpses toward them. 9, especially those surrounding the group nearby. Kill those bandits. Take back our water, a girl shouted. My body froze. That voice, it's Arya. No wonder I didn't spot her earlier. She was crouching in the very back of the crowd. What a clever little rascal. A momentary hesitation left my arm slashed open. The sting of pain felt strangely nostalgic. I swiftly zeroed in on my target, driving the blade straight through the bastard's heart. Got it. Stabbing here works much better than the arm. Her eyes widened as she collapsed to the ground. Arya's words had just given everyone a major morale boost. They broke through the encirclement and charged toward Opal, though the Lion Man possesses formidable combat skills. Beast folk are incapable of initiating attacks against humans. Soren being the obvious exception, knowing she couldn't fight them all alone, she gave the Lion Man a pat and bolted. "Soren," I shouted at the top of my lungs. The next second, he stepped in front of Opal. Within moments, I'd taken care of those guys. Opal's last remaining teammate tried to run, but hordes of withered corpses blocked their path. I ambled over slowly. Truth be told, I could end Opal right now, but I won't. She hasn't experienced the horror of the Lion Man yet. Dying like this would be letting her off too easy. In my past life, the Lion Man's combat prowess truly brought me many advantages, but then, it changed. It shifted from eating normal food to consuming mummified corpses, then came human remains, then it was my turn. I realized this because it kept licking my wrists and neck while I slept during that period. I woke with a start to see it baring its fangs, lunging for my throat. But the moment its teeth grazed my skin, the system punished it. Leaving the creature writhing in agony on the floor, I've brushed with death countless times. I locked it away, then it began starving itself. Its weakness started draining my life force, but that was right at the dawn of the Alliance's formation. To present a more appealing front for recruiting talent, I had to slit my wrist and offer him the first bowl of blood. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. The torment drove me to the brink of madness. Tried every possible solution, but nothing worked. Then I ended up getting poisoned. My thoughts snapped back to the present. Just 2 weeks into the apocalypse, Opal was already using her Lion Man strength to seize water resources. The methods were utterly disgraceful. She doesn't have to die, but I won't let her live comfortably either. I'll deal with her. As for the Lion Man, I opened the attributes panel, allocated 60 skill points to Soren's combat stats. The next instant, a set of black armor materialized on Soren's body. How is this possible? Where did that armor come from? Opal was stunned once more. He's nothing but a useless deadweight. In this second life, I chose the Lionheart. I should be the rightful champion. How did he become so powerful after following you? Why does everything always go your way? This isn't fair. It just isn't. Today, I'll make sure you die. Lion Man, kill that merman for me. Slay him. The Lion Man shook his mane and launched his attack upon hearing the command. Opal drew a dagger from her left sleeve and lunged at me. How naive she is. Those supposedly skilled fighters couldn't even take me down. What makes her think she stands a chance? I chopped her forearm with my palm, knocking the blade from her grip. My hand slid up her arm, seized her shoulder, and wrenched it hard. She screamed as her arm went limp and dropped uselessly. Hand over their water. Opal sneered. Sage. Do you really think you're some savior? You can protect one? But can you protect thousands? This is the apocalypse. The weak only waste resources by staying alive. Don't they owe me their water? The sooner they die, the more supplies the strong will have, becoming stepping stones. That's the best fate they could hope for. I never considered myself a savior, nor did I intend to save everyone. But you're the last person qualified to dictate others' lives. With those words, I snapped her neck. I take back what I just said. Someone like Opal can't be allowed to stay. After all, Leo's transformation is still nearly 2 years away. 2 years is enough time for anything to happen. Keeping her around just to satisfy my petty revenge would only let her harm others. I don't think this is right. Orcs and humans share the same fate. After Opal died, I turned to look at the Lion Man. It lay bloodied on the ground, breathless. Soren emerged completely unscathed. Come on, let's go help. I waved to Soren. Meanwhile, the others were still locked in combat with the mummified corpses, but before joining the fight, I dashed over to Arya first. I noticed earlier that she kept stealing glances at me. Sis, you took down that bandit. You're amazing, she exclaimed excitedly. Sis, I finally heard her call me that again. How nice, I said. Big sis needs to ask you a favor. A favor, me. I nodded and placed the intentionally broken chainsaw in front of her. I think my sister's chainsaw is broken. I'm new here and don't know my way around. Could you help me find someone to fix it? Her face lit up instantly. I can fix that. It's easy. I'll have it working in no time. Watching her focus so intently, I fought back tears. There, she handed me the chainsaw. I patted her head. You're amazing. This helps me so much. I stood up. Stay hidden, sweetheart. Big sis is going to wipe out these disgusting things. With this chainsaw, I own the world. Even while sawing through the mummy, I stole a glance at Soren. He's ferocious and lightning fast. He can take down a whole crowd in mere seconds. He's become incredibly powerful now, with the Lion Man as precedent. If Soren maxes out all 3 attributes, would he still obediently remain my orc? Or more importantly, would I even survive to see that day? Within minutes, all the desiccated corpses had been eliminated. Though casualties were heavy, it was still far better than my previous life. Arya trotted over. Sis, you're so cool. Could I maybe? You're really good at fixing things too. I cut her off before she could finish. I'm forming an alliance. Will you be my first teammate? Really? Can I? She exclaimed with joy. I nodded. Absolutely, if you're willing. Yes, I'd love to. Forming an alliance. Can I join? A guy nearby spoke up. Count me in, girl, you were badass back there. And this handsome dude, damn, I was blown away. Sign me up. You got our water back, you're good people. Me too, me too. Everyone started chattering and crowding around. I really didn't see this coming. Anyone who's willing can join us. But this is just a rough idea for now. Base locations, resource allocation. None of that's been figured out yet. The early days might be tough. It's the apocalypse. Who's afraid of hardship now? Exactly. Everything starts from scratch. Just imagine how amazing it'll be building this alliance together. Looking at these faces brimming with passion and fighting spirit, an inexplicable surge of emotion welled up in my heart. I sniffled. What are we waiting for? Let's go scout for our base first. My old hideout location wasn't bad either, but that was 2 years later. Both the architecture and the ghouls' behavior patterns were different back then, so I still think it depends on the situation. Got it. The group responded enthusiastically, marched toward the sunlight. I was walking at the very back, with Soren right beside me. After much contemplation, I finally voiced the question weighing on my mind. Soren, would you ever betray me? He paused mid-step and placed his hand over mine. As long as my master doesn't abandon me. Soren shall remain the finest blade in your service. I looked him straight in the eye. 11. What if I walk away? Would you kill me? He shook his head. You wouldn't. I probed cautiously. What I mean is, there are no ifs. The orc system is eternal. Once bonded, not even death can sever the tie. Soren stepped closer, resting his forehead against mine with tender devotion. So master, you can never abandon me. We're bound to be entwined, through endless lifetimes, without death or cessation. His words left me utterly stunned, unable to recover for the longest time. I merely voiced the question lingering in my heart, yet he laid bare everything without reservation, for all eternity. But last time, that was an accident. His expression turned cold. The system malfunctioned, dragging us into this scorching apocalypse. But it doesn't matter now, because the correction's been made. Consider this lifetime as his compensation to us. What's more, this place showed me a side of you I'd never seen before, decisive, brave, kind, so I don't blame fate for this twist. Everything happens for a reason. My mind is a mess. Why are you telling me this all of a sudden? He hugged me with a smile, resting his head on my shoulder. Because I have a mouth. I don't want you to misunderstand me, nor do I want any distance between us. His words burned so intensely they left me parched. Got it. Well then, give it your best shot. Go get him. Hey Arya, there's something I need to tell you. It's about. I broke free from his embrace and stumbled forward in panic. 1 year later, the alliance was officially established. The progress is twice as fast as my previous life. My relationship with Soren grew increasingly intimate through our time together, but his exclusive mission always remained one step from completion. What could it possibly be? I glanced at him lounging leisurely beside me. You really don't know. You're not lying to me. Soren's gaze was utterly sincere. Master, you've asked me 100 times already. I truly don't know. I don't believe you. He sighed and walked over helplessly. Opal spread her arms, her eyes gleaming with a touch of madness. Go you, because I like maxing out my skill bars. Seeing each one just 2 or 3 points short is driving me crazy. Are you really that desperate for these 10 points? So you do know. Spit it out. What is it? I demanded, hands on my hips. He suddenly stepped closer, his gaze unreadable. My mission concerns me, obviously. Think hard. What's left unfinished? Unfinished. We've been inseparable this whole year, done everything together. Is there really anything left we haven't tried, haven't done? My face instantly flushed crimson. Soren leaned in closer. So master, ready to unlock that final quest? I swallowed hard. My first instinct was to run, but then I saw the hope in his eyes. It suddenly hit me. Every time he'd expressed his love this past year, I'd been running away. Desertion is never honorable. Speak your mind before it's too late. Love demands courage and expression. With that, I smiled quietly to myself. She wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him.